Good morning, Vietnam. What is going on, everybody? Let's see who's here. Hi, Miss Kelly. Truth, Wheel, I know. Come give me your opinion. Hey, Heavy. Audrey. How you guys doing? Hey, Fire. Hey, Megan. Appreciate that. Bro. Bro. Yvette. Thanks for stopping by. Denise. Bunny. Critical. What's going on? The Twizzy Twiz. Yo, I think I texted you a link. I think. I know I emailed the thinky. But so what up, Angel? Gypsy? I mean, obviously I don't know if you guys saw my community post yesterday, but I'm pissed off. I am pissed off to a point where I'm questioning if this is real life. If I am in some kind of simulation, if this is a Twilight Zone, I don't know what's going on anymore. But something needs to change. Hey, Jesse. Thanks for stopping by. Victoria, what's going on? I'm in bed. It's 4:17, Malaka. What do you mean you're in bed? Spooky. Oh shit, Spooky. I forgot to message you back about the cards. So, has everybody? I mean, I know most everybody here follows Idaho 4, but has everybody here been following the Karen Reed case? Is there anybody here who has no idea what's going on? Because I have some questions, and I'm not going to dive into the case because that's not what this lab's about. But I want to dive into how Karen Reed and Brian Koberger got past a grand jury, and how and why. Because in my opinion, something needs to change with the whole structure of the grand jury process, and I don't see why it's so difficult to do. I really don't. I mean, we have jurors who, you know, they act like an indictment is no big deal, but we have jurors who spend 8-10 weeks out of their life for a trial that can be avoided if we do the same thing and have these people come in for a grand jury hearing. So, I guess my question is, why is that so hard? I'm gonna drop the link here if anybody wants to come up, give me your thoughts. I mean, we pay people shit anyway. What's up, Rob? So if they're already investing, you know, instead of investing millions and millions of dollars, why not invest, I mean, nowhere near that, to get some unbiased individuals in there to, you know, really look at this. And, you know, if an indictment's necessary, okay. But I sat on a jury and said, nope. Yeah, I mean, but I'm talking about jury. I'm talking about a grand jury. That's because Karen Reed got past, you know, all that got past a grand jury, I believe, you know, and then they upped the charges. My question is how, like, I don't know. How do you indict somebody by seeing the evidence that we are being presented right now, which is an absolute fucking circus? And then we're over here in Idaho 4, where we have Brian Koberger indicted, and we have a prosecution with no evidence. So what are they fucking indicting these people on? I mean, I understand there's no, you know, counter from a defense during it, but Jesus mighty. I mean, you're just going to indict people from... it's starting to anger me because us as a taxpayers, we pay for the trial to happen. We pay for all that to happen when, you know, if people wind up not guilty, this, that, and the third, it could all been handled at the grand jury fucking fashion. What's up, Wheel?
What's up, Will? Willie?
Nothing much, man. How you doing? How you been?
Pretty good. Can't complain.
Let me turn you up real quick. Hold on, brother.
Okay. Are we
Yeah,
better?
your mic here.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
You there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, there. That's a little better. Yeah. So I saw when before I went live, I saw you comment and said that it is broken. So it seems like you think it's broken as well. Like, do you have any opinion or idea of how we can fix?
It's broken. One thing it is plus, it's a little less broken than all over the other world.
But I understand, and
it's like
I
you're
understand that, like,
economically
there's
on
other
the-
countries that'll cut people's arms off and they'll do, extreme things for, little. But again, usually when something's broken, like you should fix it, especially when these are human lives, with families, with kids that are, being
the
indicted
Karen
on
thing, I just
who
can't.
knows what.
I don't know. It behooves me.
Mhm.
I mean, the search on Google. I mean, it seems to me they just beat the shit out of that guy and then figured out the closest person they could frame, and they
Oh
put
yeah, for the
everything
Karen
in
Enriquez,
motion,
yeah.
wrapped it up in a
I
bow,
just
and
do listen.
everybody
My heart
swallowed.
breaks for the family sitting there watching how that investigation was conducted.
Yeah, I don't know. And nobody. I don't know. People just go on and believe what they hear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, believe, but you have an officer saying that, he's made a comment that he was punched. It looked like he was punched. And then he's sitting up there trying to say how he didn't say it.
I heard that she backed over him and she was going, what, 30? They guessed.
But 30 wouldn't be possible because
honestly, I think
they have it at 22.
Me and hit me at 30 mile an hour, and I'm not sure unless the tires run slap over you. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, I've hit. See, here's my problem with all this, right? I've hit a deer, okay, going 25. Okay, I've hit a deer going 25, 30 miles an hour, and every fucking time, let me tell you what's always in my car is one, which is most certainly a dent. Okay, and then you have blood and you have hair, which is why the insurance company asks you for that kind of shit from your vehicle. Okay,
Yeah, I had a deer in my SUV Mercedes, and I thought the deer hit me. It was such a hit.
Yeah. I mean, at least a dent. And when I saw the back of that vehicle without it's just a tail light, cracked.
And how was glass supposedly
nothing.
embed in the bumper or something? I heard something about that. That's the most ludicrous thing I've ever heard in my fucking life. Excuse me.
Yeah, I mean, and like I said, people think it's this is only going to get worse. This trial. I mean, and I'm seeing a huge problem. And then, like I said, in my opinion, over in the Idaho 4 case, if we have a prosecution saying that they don't have the shit that we all thought they had to indict this man. So what is actually going the fuck on? Why is it so hard to get unbiased grand juries if that is a route the prosecution could take if they get spooked? Like, that scares the living shit out of me.
When it comes to Idaho, Willie, we've disagreed and we've never had any problems with it. But what gets me is a search warrant's supposed to be narrow in scope and specific. You can't search an entire apartment complex to find drugs in one house. It doesn't seem right to me that you can search an entire database of DNA to get one person. It seems too broad. I think that's going to be the problem, in my opinion. Maybe not. I'm not a lawyer.
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess my thing is now it makes perfect sense to me why there were some jurors who wanted to see more, because it kind of makes sense now. But and I kept saying, dude, the reason that they weren't given more is because they didn't fucking have more, and people kept saying I was wrong. But here we are, and now we know the prosecution doesn't have any. I mean, they don't have the cash report, for Christ's sakes, which is, I mean, everybody thought.
And I've done a deep dive on cash, Willie, and I've seen expert after expert. It's not nearly as accurate as they say, and with the less towers you have, the less accurate it is. And in Idaho,
but let's say it's somewhat accurate, right? But let's say it's semi-accurate. Where the fuck is it? If it's not a big deal, right? And this is something that they're going to have to hand over, which now is going to take even more time because the defense has to go through everything that the state is still waiting on, which I find just amazing.
Why does it take so long? if it's evidence they can get, why does it take so long to get it? It seems to me like it's some kind of game they're playing. I don't know.
It seems like they're more focused on Brian's alibi than they are on retrieving the evidence. And that's why I think that, like me, if I was, if this was, if this was my daughter, okay, or my son that was, murdered, I would be pissed the hell off right now on the fact of what I'm hearing in the courts. Because I mean, people keep blaming Ann Taylor. She's a defense attorney. Okay, that's one thing. But when you have the prosecution over there saying that the facts are prejudice against the state, the facts are prejudice against the state. What the fuck does that mean? I have never heard that in my
I never heard that in my
life. Okay, so they can't have everything. They can't hand everything over because the facts are prejudice against the state. Well, that's your own fucking problem.
Here's the thing, too. He could be innocent and proven guilty. He could be guilty and proven innocent. Mm-hmm. We don't know. Trial.
No, we don't know. And that's what I mean. That's why I'm saying, why can't the grand jury process be more thorough and not just, indicting whoever the fuck they want? Because I'm sure, and correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm on that jury, okay, and this is my job and I'm seeing all these criminals all the time, right? I'm sure they let some people off that these jurors know go on and commit other crimes and they feel bad, which is probably why they get into a rhythm of just kind of indicting everybody. But that's not, in my opinion, that's not good. Okay, that's not good for us.
Better to let 10 people go free that are guilty than convict one man that's innocent.
Amen. So just like okay, like a film director, right? So like take a 18-year-old kid who wants to be a film director. Okay, he gets into the college, he starts it out, he's excited, right? When you first start out, you're excited, but after 20 years of that shit, bro, it's just another body.
It's another job.
It's just another body. So for in my opinion, for the grand jury, it's just another body.
Yeah,
and that's not how it should be.
A ham sandwich.
Yeah, I mean, I know Riddler the one who first told me that. Yeah. Where is Riddler? Have you seen Riddler anywhere?
I actually seen Riddler in somewhere yesterday, and I actually told him hello and sent him an email, and he sent it back today, and I seen it, but I didn't read it. I was looking for some banking information, and
hey, Nicole.
Hey, how are you? Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Yeah.
Hi.
Good. Hello.
So, first of all, I would like to commend you for being so focused and speaking up for Brian Kohlberger. I've been following this case from the beginning. And the reason why I've been following this case, because my brother was falsely accused.
Oh, wow.
And he was falsely accused back in 2022 for an alleged, I can't say the R word. His face was all over the newspaper, just like BK's. They never, the newspaper in my hometown never used the word alleged. They said that he drugged or beaten, strangled. It was very horrific. My brother called me asking for my help. He says, "Sis, I'm being framed and I don't know what to do." And immediately I went into the big sister mode. I said, look, just give me a badge and a gun and we will figure this out. Because the police came to his house saying for him to come down to the police station. The best thing he did was I would not go unless I have representation. With that being said,
you still there?
But yes,
okay,
I'm still here.
Can you repeat the last part you just said?
So the police came to his home asking for him to come down to the police station.
Okay.
And he said, no, I'm not going to go without representation. So my brother went out of town. He went to Vegas on a business trip, came back home to Indiana. And that's when he was faced all these, he received a bunch of phone calls saying that he was wanted by the police. And so, yes, this was in 22. The police didn't tell him why, but eventually, this happened in 2022. And so I read the newspaper. It turned out it was for an incident that happened in August of 2017. Now, my brother was like, right. He's like, I don't know what happened in 2017. I can't remember what I did yesterday.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
and so the article had the date because it mentioned that the false accuser said that it happened in August of 2017. And I'm like, I don't want to say his name. Bro,
Hmm.
what happened? Who was this person? He said he didn't know. Long story short, we ended up going to, well, I ended up going to Facebook. I found the girl, found the flyer from August of 2017. That happened that Saturday. I looked on Facebook that Sunday. We called a lawyer that following Monday. The lawyer told us if we had any evidence to gather all the evidence. In the meantime, that they would try to see how much the bail was. And that took over a month. Okay.
Jesus.
So,
While he's
so
sitting in jail.
no, not yet. Not
Okay.
yet. We was waiting because we was like, look, I don't have any money. Well, I know my brother
Okay.
absolutely didn't. So I had to wait for my CD and my credit union to expire. I went ahead. I
Mhm.
took 20,000 out. It was 20,000 for the lawyer. It took
Huh.
another month. Yes, another 16 for bail that I paid for. Mind you, this was my little savings that I put to the side because I wanted to move back home. Because right now
Jeez.
because right now I reside outside of DC. So with that being said, I went ahead. I put down 10,000 for the lawyer. Okay. My brother was facing 25 to life. He had 15 class one felonies with
Holy
no
hell.
evidence, with no evidence. So this is the exact same thing was going on with Brian Kohlberger
I bet they
because
didn't come back and exonerate him either when it was.
so what I did was the same thing
Hmm.
I did in Brian Kohlberger's case. I went through the PCA. I went to because the lawyer sent us the PCA of August of 22. It turned out that the person who accused my brother did another sworn statement in February of 22. Then it
Oh
took
boy.
another maybe 6 months before we got the discovery. Okay. So during the day, as I'm building, because I do IT during the day. And so as I'm building virtual servers during the day and troubleshooting and whatnot at night, I would come
Right.
home and I would just I would meticulously go through the affidavit. And every word, just like in Brian Kohlberg's case, was a lie. I went ahead, I
Hmm.
asked for my brother's statement, what happened in August of 2017, which was the complete opposite of what this young lady said. And so I did my own investigation, not the lawyer. I did my own investigation.
Now, at this
I was
time, how old
talking,
is your brother?
um, shoot, because I'm 53 now.
Hmm.
So this was back in 22. So my brother was like mid 40s when this happened.
Jesus Christ. So right in the middle of
Yeah,
his prime. Uh,
right. And mind you, his teenage daughter. So he was trying to keep us away from his kids. His teenage daughter
oh
saw
my.
the article on Facebook and texted me at 1 a.m, like, Auntie, what is this?
Yeah, you can't walk back
Okay.
from that.
And let me tell you what people don't understand. When you don't have money, it's not a race. It's not a race issue.
Hmm.
It is a class issue.
Yep.
Okay. And what a lot of people don't understand, people think that you have evidence that Brian Kober can walk out. That is not true. When my
Hmm.
brother was accused in August, I gathered all the evidence. And it took me about a month or so to compile all the evidence. Me talking to the witnesses who said that they saw my brother with the person after the night of the alleged R, because she said in the affidavit, in the discovery, in 2 affidavits, which is a sworn statement, she never saw my brother again. I did a timeline and I put together the Facebook messages, which was 44 pages. But yet she told the police, the detective, that she never saw my brother again. That was a lie. what she failed to tell the detective was that she was married to a police officer.
Oof.
Okay. So she knew exactly what she was doing. And I told my brother, I said, I guarantee you she had a boyfriend. And so what I did was in January of 23, I reached out to her brother. Her brother went to school with me and he graduated a year after me. Her brother been to my home. Okay. I reached out to him and was like, look, I'm not going to talk about the case, but I believe that they were in a situationship. He was like, nope, she's, your brother, this horrible person, someone. But he did confirm that she had a boyfriend. So she was cheating on her boyfriend with my brother. My brother took her home the following morning on the night of her birthday. And how come she wasn't with her boyfriend? But instead of saying, hey, I was out cheating, she was like, oh, the reason why I didn't come home because I was hard, I was beaten, I was drugged.
Jeez.
Okay. So in 22, this is the crazy part. The police went looking for my brother. Once that warrant went out, once that affidavit went out, now there's a warrant out for his arrest. The police went to my grandmother's house and they damn near broke down the door. They almost arrested and beat up his
She's
neighbor.
what, at that point in her 70s, 80s?
Yes. 80, 82.
This is what I mean. Like, they don't understand the ripple effect. This is what pisses me off.
No
I
one
appreciate you coming up and telling your story, by the way. It takes
But thank you so much.
guts.
So because again, I was fighting for my brother because I'm like, he's not that person. I come from a poor Black environments, neighborhood, bad schools. All right. We grew up without a mother and a father. So I practically raised him myself. I'm like, that's not kind of man that I raised him to be. So when I got the text messages from him, and I told him, do not give your phone to the police. Send them all to me, which he emailed. I print them all out. It was not one cuss word. He was a complete gentleman. We still trying to figure out to this day why she would make up such an elaborate lie. And the crazy part was the police did not do an investigation. They
How
just
come
took
they
her word
could have
for
got
it.
his past info and proven he was nowhere near her? Have you ever heard
Right. So
which they could?
Because she mentioned in the affidavit that they communicated on Facebook. How come the police didn't say, let me look at your Facebook messages? Not one. So they just went ahead and charged him with 15 felonies based on what she said, just like how Dylan, because I don't think Dylan is telling the truth. Okay. Long story short, I put everything together. I typed up the motives for the lawyer. The lawyer used that as the blueprint for her deposition, which was in September of 23. February 9th of this year, that's when the prosecutor dropped all charges based on my investigation. Mind you, I'm not college educated. I don't have no experience in law school, but based on all of my hard work investigating the case and I actually brought this case to my brother's attention. And I'm like, look, in Idaho, there's another guy that's going through the same thing what you're doing. He's innocent and they're accusing him of taking the lives of 4 people. I don't believe the PCA. I don't believe that he was an incel because incels is not on Tinder.
He was no incel.
And as now I'm investigating this case. He was an addict. I myself have family members that was an addict, and one of them actually OD'd on heroin. I don't know anybody who was a heroin addict decides to get in shape, get clean, go back to school, get a PhD, right? And it was his family members that suggested for him to go to Washington State. Okay.
Hey, well, this is Nicole. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, and that's again, I don't know if if this is your first time here or not.
It
But this is
is. It
why.
is. It is.
Okay. Yeah. So I
I've been
think,
watching, but it's my first
okay.
time.
I think, like I said, if you scroll through my live, the first live I ever did, I think you'll find very
Mm.
interesting, which is the conversation with Brian's friend Rich. And I mean, and just from that
Mm.
conversation itself, you can tell this dude wasn't an incel. Okay, this guy had friends.
Mm.
Okay, he held
Mm.
jobs. All right, he got mad one time when his car broke down. I mean, he was an average guy. But like you
Yeah.
said, the
Who
the
did he
media
punch when his
painted him.
car broke down, though? Who did he punch?
He didn't punch anybody.
Exactly.
But check this out though, and this is what I told my brother, and because we did another podcast about a month or so ago talking about his
Jody.
case. And I
Mhm.
told him, I said, it's the regular man. It's the regular man that will always lose
Sure.
because society do not support the regular man. They don't. And it's
Yeah.
unbelievable
You got to have money, like
how
you said.
right. And it's unbelievable how the public just automatically just jump on this narrative. Oh, he's an incel. He's funny looking. What is that he's
Mhm.
driving at night looking at the moon and stars?
Well, what if
How-
Brian Koberger didn't have Ann Taylor? And what if Karen Reed didn't have the money to
oh,
afford Yannetti and,
ex-
Jackson?
exactly. Exactly. And this
Then
is
what?
and wait a minute, hold up. But what about Cy Ray? Cy Ray
Cyrus,
is a beast.
yeah,
And the
Cyrus is going to come in
prosecution
and
is
shit on everybody.
yes, and that's why the prosecution is afraid of him. This is why they do not want anyone or expert to testify on BK's behalf. But let me say this real quick because the aftermath that people don't understand the toll of being falsely accused does to a person mentally. Like my brother went through it. He was almost suicidal. He
I can't
couldn't
imagine.
work. He couldn't work. So I was paying my rent and half of his rent for over a year. Okay. I I myself started to go through therapy because how much time that it took out of my schedule investigating the case and you just waiting for the court system. I can't tell you how many times that they kept delaying for my brother to go to court. And I told him, let your lawyer know they are violating your Sixth Amendment right to a fair and speedy trial. You can't
Yeah.
hold a person hostage where
Well,
the
how?
state
Well, what? Okay,
has
so say,
no evidence.
but if Brian Koberger, okay, was like, fuck it, let's have a fair, speedy trial. What is the
Mhm.
prosecution bringing to the table?
Nothing. But this
So,
is but who did the investigation? Was it Moscow Police Department or was it the FBI? And how come the
well,
FBI
the
is even
FBI
involved
assisted.
in this?
Well, the
But
FBI
why?
did. They assisted.
But why? This is not a federal case.
Uh,
But why
well,
were they?
this is what I mean.
Wouldn't you,
They provided a tip, okay, and
wouldn't
then
you
and
think
then
that
Moscow was like, oh, let's run with this, and now they're stuck.
I
But
think the FBI was trying to make a federal case,
Yeah. Now they don't want to
how
get involved.
though?
and I think
But
that the
how? But
FBI has to do the cast reports and stuff, right?
so and that's the question that I have. So the Idaho State Police or crime lab doesn't have the technology to do a cast report.
I don't know.
I don't know.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
Like
just what
every
I've heard is that the cast
so
reports always come from the FBI.
I'm just going by what some
oh
people say.
that would have I would have to look in. So with that being said, we finally so once they dropped the
Right,
case
Denise.
in February, we were still upset.
Yep.
We even called the district attorney was like, "Hey, are you going to charge this fake victim for malicious prosecution, filing a false report?" The DA say, "No, we're not going to do anything towards her." What? He just ruined
she's the one that
my
harmed
brother's
him?
life for over 2 years, and you're not going to do anything.
They never
Not
do.
only not only that, the city had to spend money on like the police was staking out his home for a month. Who
Yeah.
pays for that?
Us. Us. We pay for
How
everything.
many
Absolutely.
innocent people though they have run right through the system, convicted and put in jail?
But fuck the
Right.
money.
They come in
Right.
It's a psychological toll. It it weighs on you throughout your whole life after going through a situation like that. Like, because it
Right.
not just affected your brother, it affected his kids, it affected you, it affected everybody around
Absolutely.
him that got swallowed up by this.
Everybody. Oh, absolutely. I even had my own family member was like, well, he could have did it. What?
See, this is the
Yes.
shit I'm talking about.
and how many
Yes.
people
And
still
so
look at him and think he's the guy that
and
he did
and
this.
so for your listeners to think that this can only happen in BK and only BK only, that is not true. That
This
can
happens every
happen
day.
this happens every day. And it's not a black issue, it's not a white issue,
It's
it's
the
not a
green or
Hispanic
white or
issue.
not green
It
issue.
doesn't matter.
That's right,
It really comes to show how our so-called police department are too lazy to conduct a thorough investigation
Yeah, before an arrest, right?
It goes
before
deeper
an
than that.
arrest.
Same
Because
shit here.
I read the PCA about a week and a half ago. That PCA was so flimsy and so
When people were like, "Oh,
presumptuous.
it's 18 pages, yay!" I was like, 18 pages of fucking what?
And
Of
and,
what?
what I don't understand is why would they use a police officer who only been on the job for 2 years?
You got me.
Y'all don't. But I mean, y'all couldn't get somebody with more experience.
But why is somebody writing a PCA, okay, without having the actual cast
Evidence.
fucking report in front of them? Is he
The
on the phone with
evidence.
somebody like, yo, can you explain to me what you're seeing in the cast? And he's fucking just like writing down bullet points and then just makes his own fucking, draws his own route of what Brian took? Like, get the fuck out of here
Right.
with that.
You want to know
It
what I
was
think
as
happened?
yes.
I think that Payne was like, well, he's this far
Both
away
one
from
of
the
us.
tower, so he could be south of Moscow. And the FBI agent was like, yeah, he could be south of Moscow, but he could also be way over there in Washington. And Payne was like,
Thank you,
cool, got it.
Firefly. But you know what though? But you know what really gets me is this
Oh my God.
is the public. How we
Yep.
are so quick to condemn. Let this
Yep.
be your brother, your father, your uncle, your son.
And that's why I'm
Hey,
here.
Okay.
hey,
Because like I
Steve
said,
Gonsalves, you have a son. This could happen to him. You want him to have a
And
fair trial, or do you want him
Yeah.
to be convicted through the media?
And like people tell me all the time, they're like, well, the only reason you're here is because, you kind of knew Brian or else he wouldn't be in the true crime community. You're goddamn right. But guess what? I don't see fucking, his friends. I don't see his family, but I don't blame them because that just makes them, everybody's going to criticize them no
right.
matter what they say. But I don't see
Yeah.
anybody, coming out and, except strangers, who don't even know Brian, and all they and the
No.
reason they're coming out. This isn't because people love Brian Koberger. Everybody thinks these guilters are like, oh, Brian Koberger lovers. No, this is the fact of wanting true justice. Because
Right.
if you kill an innocent man, now 5 people are dead. 5 innocent
Right.
lives are dead. For what?
Right. Wait,
Yeah,
wait,
and
So,
actual
so you could
killers
give
still
a
running
family,
free.
so you could put a Band-Aid on a wound that requires stitches for 4 families? Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
they wanted to wrap it up in a quick hurry, and he fit the bill, and they just put him in the slot and.
Mhm.
went at it.
And another thing too that your listeners have to know, anytime this happens, this is a violation of our civil rights. It is a violation of our human rights. This affected me so much that I am seriously considering at the age of 53 going to law school.
Do it.
Yeah,
Do
and
it.
listen,
Okay.
I was asking if 30 was too old for me, and everybody was like, no, it's never too late. So, shit, I'll go
It's
through it with you.
never too late. It's never too
That's
late. And people have to realize the more that we talk about how corrupt our system is and how
Mhm.
there's a narrative. I've always said that there is a narrative towards men anyways in the last few years. It's really, really
See, my problem
sickening
is
as a
though.
woman.
See, like my problem is like you're very. I mean, I can be articulate, but my problem is I can't not curse. So like today, if I was like cross-examining it like Jackson was, and that guy would lie to my face, I would be
Right.
like, "Fuck you, you're lying to me." Tell me
Mhm.
straight up. And I can't.
Mhm.
I
hey
don't.
Willie.
It would take like a year for me just to try to speak and reserve myself. What's up, brother?
What you gonna do when the prosecution says shush?
Dude,
I'm
I,
smacking a
They would have
bitch.
Willie locked up if he
Make
was.
me touch.
I still cannot believe that,
Right.
bro.
I'm smacking a bitch.
And what I don't like is how I'm not sure if the prosecution is using the family, especially SG, because everything he says, people jump on board. Because at
Yeah,
first he was very critical of the Moscow Police Department, and all
yeah.
of a
Now
sudden
he's
things
trusting
are
him.
starting to change. And I'm like,
But
but
it's not. But you gotta understand, it's
how?
not. But you have to understand, the police can't speak to him. The people that are in his head are the creators that are, they just think he's guilty and that's it, and they don't want to listen to anybody
Who,
else. Those are the ones that
who
are,
was Who was
huh?
the one that told him that they said that BK's Wi-Fi was in, or his phone was in the house Wi-Fi? Who
Who
said
knows?
that?
Who
I
knows?
don't think that anybody told him that because he actually works in some form of like cybersecurity technology type thing, right? But
That's right.
if you
Mm.
drive by that house, you're touching their Wi-Fi. So I think he
Yeah,
just was going along with the idea
dude. Listen,
that
you could
BK
be
was
500
driving
feet
by.
away and touch the Wi-Fi. What do you mean? Everybody,
Exactly.
open your
Yes.
Wi-Fi right now and see how many Wi-Fis you're touching. Do you
Your
think that
Wi-Fi does a handshake with everything. Your phone with everything that comes across, basically.
Yep.
it all depends on how strong just like I said before, my router is made for a fucking warehouse. Like those big, anybody ever work at Amazon? I know I did when I was 18. And you have a router on one end and you're trying to get service on the other. You need to have a strong ass router. Okay. So I can get perfect service fucking up the street. Now you have other routers that suck. Okay. But again, it all depends on
Mhm.
how strong that router is.
I can
That's the only,
stream 3 or 4 YouTube streams
yeah.
simultaneously.
Mm.
It just all depends on how strong that Wi-Fi is. Now, when you live in a fucking house like that with,
Mm.
other people, everybody's trying to get Wi-Fi. I'm sure they had a pretty decent router. So somebody could have touched a router up in the fucking where the Linda Lane footage was showing us for crazy, very, very easily. I mean, probably with two bars
Mm.
up there at Linda Lane, they would have had in the fucking King Road residence. I bet, I guarantee it. So
Mm.
I'm just
Yeah, I've
saying.
got where I don't trust hardly anything with law enforcement.
So
Yeah.
my
I
thing is,
will,
so I
I
do, so
will, I will
I
be triple proved that they haven't doctored evidence or hid
I
evidence.
do have a question for you regarding the sheath. Now,
Mhm.
me growing up in the hood, this was something that is normal that we saw where the
Okay.
police would plant certain items in the cars and in the
Oh
house.
shit.
Yeah, it happens all the time. Just look up any major city, Philly, Baltimore.
What hood are you talking about?
Well, you name the hood, I lived it. I lived on the south side of Chicago. I
Oh
just moved from
shit.
southeast. I just moved from southeast DC.
Jesus Christ.
And so now I'm outside of Baltimore, and this is something that we see all the time. Matter of fact, it was something that, like, you just go to just Google or go to YouTube, and you will see how people talk about. There was actually one in Baltimore where they saw a police officer on another police officer body cam plant drugs in
Oh, Lord.
somebody's car.
Jesus
And,
Christ.
and this is something that this is something that we would see all the time in the hood. And this
Yeah.
and
But
so
there should be
when and
undisturbed body cam footage from I mean, because again, I don't know when, how long ago, that was, but today there's body cams to avoid this.
right.
And, we see that we
And,
saw the officer that planted drugs and he planted it with his fucking body cam on
mhm,
like a jackass. Now, in
yeah.
this case, if they don't have
Mhm,
the first responders showing up, turning their body or whoever the hell, showed up first and turned their body cams on and walk in that house and that sheet be visible when they're, making their way and finding people in the rooms and shit like that, then I'm gonna have a big problem because even for those stupid noise complaints that they showed up for, they had their body cams on. So they better have their body cams on throughout the whole fucking time they're at that place, or I'm gonna be very angry if this even goes to trial.
right, right. Because what I don't understand is how come that they found this cheese on a bloody bed and it was so called touched in it. I'm like, what did he do? Lick the button?
Yeah.
Like, how is that
But
possible?
why
Because
isn't?
mind
But
you,
why isn't the victim's blood? Okay, yeah, like you said on the bloody bed, right?
exactly,
So why isn't the
right,
victim's blood mixed in with his blood or his touch?
exactly. But none of the other victims' blood was mixed with each other's neither, because that
Oh,
was one knife,
oh.
right?
That's
Hey,
why I
It
said.
was
That's why
one
I said this
knife.
is impossible. This is impossible for one person to do
Because
because if you enter a room with two people and you attack one, the other one's most likely gonna run out. They're gonna pick something up. They're gonna hit you. They're gonna scream. They're gonna do something to not just sit there
well,
like, I'll wait
I
over
do
here.
have a theory. I do have a theory, and this is my own personal opinion. I'm not sure what
Hit me
your
with it.
fan base going to think of, but
It
I
don't matter.
think
Hit me with it.
that Ethan and Xana
Fan
was the
base.
target,
Mm.
not what the media says, not what the PCA, because I think that was a crock
We're
of
all
shit. I'm
open-minded here.
sorry. Right.
Yeah.
I think it was them. I think that it happened earlier around 2 because Maddie last phone call was at 2:52. Brian left his house at 2:47. So
Mhm.
that means when the crime occurred, he was at home. Now,
You know what I mean?
where the PC says that Xana called Uber, I think that was a decoy
Mm.
because she was already gone. That's a lie. Because mind you, the food was still on the kitchen counter. If you remember the earlier footage, there was also blood in the kitchen.
But we
There was
also
blood
don't
on the
know.
refrigerator.
But we also don't know if that bag is from that night.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
true
it could have
too.
been for the night before. So again, I don't.
Could
I
be.
mean, the thing that bothers me the most, okay, and I mean, I know most people in here that have been in here all the time know this, but the biggest thing that bothers me most with the Times, okay, is her Xana is commenting. Okay, this is not somebody like making a phone call hanging up or some weird shit where the phone's moving a little
Mhm,
bit.
mhm,
This is her commenting on her social media at 4:13. Okay, which shows me that in my opinion that's proof of life because Brian Koberger had no, I'm going by the PCA here. Brian Koberger had no time, okay, to do shit. He didn't have time to take shed clothing, he didn't have time to do nothing because of how tight this time frame is. So if she's up at 4:13 commenting awake, okay, that means that is that somebody's background?
mhm.
Shit, where was
Yeah,
I?
but my thing is, what
So
proof
yeah,
do you have besides what he says? Because I'm not sure if that's the truth that she
yeah,
was on her
but
phone.
I'm going by,
You know,
but again, this is a state here, so I'm going by the PCA and what they're saying. Okay, so if she's on the phone at
mm,
4:13 and she's commenting, that means she's alive and well. At that point, is somebody in the house upstairs doing this, and
mm,
nobody has an idea? Because that means
mm.
Brian in at 4:13 is Brian in the house? That's my question to you guys here on the panel. What do you guys think?
No, no.
I thought
Because
it's the cast evidence. If it blows any of the timeline apart,
And
which it could very easily because it's so tight,
but
but that's why
but
they
my other
haven't brought it
question
forward.
is,
It's like they
but
they want to frame it to fit their narrative.
Mhm.
right, and I agree with that. But
It
my
wouldn't take
thing
a
is,
whole lot to
how
blow it apart.
come Payne is going by who's on the phone and not by the medical examiner? What? Because you can tell by the body temperature, right?
Mhm.
The time of death. How come we're not having that conversation? I don't care what the PCA says. I want to know the time of death.
Yeah,
That would give you, right? Because if the time of death shows
and toxicology
that it was
report.
before, huh?
I said, and the toxicology reports, because
Exactly.
again, if
Exactly.
these kids were sedated
Drug.
in any way, then I can see,
Yeah.
yeah, then I can see this, with no DNA under their fingernails and shit like that. But for
Right.
somebody to come right out and say, oh, the toxicology reports don't matter, bitch, what?
Right.
So
Yeah.
again, she angered me in that aspect, right from the get.
Yeah. I think the whole case stinks. I think that they have a completely innocent man
Yep.
in jail as we speak. I don't understand how come that how come they just couldn't get his GPS. Now, mind you, a few years ago, I went to Amsterdam. Okay, my phone service
Ooh.
did not work. Hush. My phone service did not work, but my GPS did,
Hey,
and it
that's the
took me
same
where.
issue I have down at the Wawawai Park.
Oh, imagine that.
Huh?
Hmm.
Crazy.
Hmm.
This is
So,
how, and I think that's how they got Brian. I know everybody thinks they got Brian, like, you know, I don't know, by the fucking car or something like that. I think they got Brian by looking at all the phones in that area around a certain time, and they saw one that kind of just disconnected from the service because of where he went. Maybe not, you know, people don't go to, and the time frame that his phone was, you know, looked like it disconnected from the service or off or whatever the hell they're trying to say. And that's how they initially,
you
you
talking
know,
about the
started with
morning?
Brian. Yes.
You talking about the morning? But see, but again, that
So you
was
take that,
Payne
the white
guessing.
car, his profession, you have the perfect suspect.
Yeah, but all of those are just coincidence.
Well, the
You know what I
jury
mean?
believes that kind of shit.
Right, because basically, because Payne said, well, in my experience, before a person commits a crime, they usually turn their phone off. Regardless, it's still pinging to the nearest tower.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you turn off your phone, it's still pinging to the nearest tower. Even in the PCA says that his phone was not in the area on the night in question. So a
Yeah.
lot of
Sicko.
things does not make any sense because I
Yeah,
do
and what
believe.
crime could you commit in 2024 with and have a cell phone, which every human being basically does, and get away with?
Mm,
Yeah.
Tell me.
I
mm.
Not
don't know.
many. I mean,
I
they
just,
literally have a video, a timeline of everywhere you've been, spent money, drove by. I
everything.
mean, so
And that's
nothing.
another thing
Either
too.
I'll have the absolute slam dunk, something we don't know, or they'll be trying to finagle around numbers and times, and we'll see.
And that's another thing too about the stalking. Because have anybody actually looked how the house is positioned? Because it looks like the house is up on a hill a bit, right?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
and it's because I saw on one police cam that when I guess when they got the noise complaint and the police was talking to one of the roommates, you can actually see like the neighbor houses, but you can see the top, like the roofs of the houses.
That
My
house,
thing is how right. My thing is how was somebody was able to surveillance that house
Mhm.
from the streets, which makes no sense to me. And also that was a party house. That means because every time the police came to that home for a noise complaint, that house was full of frat boys.
and how is it not full of DNA of, like, I don't, bunches of people's?
Right.
Yeah.
That house was always frat boys. On this one particular night, there was no frat boy at the house.
Well, that's
Yeah.
why I find it again. That's why, to me, okay, the two unknown male DNAs matter because it's, you know, they're mentioned. I'm sure there's a shit ton of DNA all over everybody's room. Okay, I mean, come
Yeah,
on,
because I'm
you know.
right. I don't think it's only two or three. It's about 30,
But that's what I
if
mean.
not more.
But
Well,
that's
when
my
they're
point
talking
is
about
they picked out these two for a reason, in my opinion.
when they're talking about the DNA in the house, they say unknown, like it had to have been somebody unknown to the house that did the crime.
Yeah, but does
Huh?
that mean they did their due
What do you mean
diligence
unknown to the house?
to find who it was, and couldn't, or they just
No,
didn't
but they're
even give?
also looking. They were looking for an outsider to do the crime the entire time. What if it was somebody
Hold
that
on,
they
hold on,
did
hold on.
know?
Hold on a second. That means that everybody that went to the house was in CODIS?
No, CODIS is
No.
you either
Hold
have
on,
to be
because Twiz
accused.
just said Twiz just said that unknown means that they've never been in the house. Dude, what do you mean?
In the CODIS database, it means you haven't been convicted of felony, or you haven't been. You're either in the system or you're not. You're either
Yeah,
have
but
one
how
of
many of those
Yeah,
college kids would have been in the system?
probably not a
Mm,
lot is
I
what
don't
I'm
think
saying.
any
not
of
a
the
Not
lot.
very many.
college students that have
So,
CODIS.
so,
Right.
so that's why it's unknown. But they
Right.
still could have been connected to the house and not just come forward and say, "Hey, oh, was that, you know, I knew so and so," because who the fuck wants to, you know, get involved with all that? When you have your buddies telling you, "Yo, I came forward and they made me do this, made me do that." Well, fuck that. I'm not coming forward. I mean, come on. It's your college kids. Nobody wants to put up with that kind of shit. So
Yeah, I don't.
yeah,
Yeah, I don't
I
believe
think they
that
got
was.
the
Yeah,
wrong guy.
I don't believe that it was three because I've never seen such incompetency in my life, because those people that was in that home processing the crime scene should have hazmat suits on, which they
Absolutely.
did, which they did not. So they were recontaminating the
I
scene. I've
mean,
never
yeah,
seen such stupidity. And I'm like, why? I mean, no one had no hairnet. Nobody hair was covered. Like
sneezing.
nothing. Right. And I also find that it was weird too that the prosecutor was at the home that afternoon as well. Like I didn't, yeah, maybe that was something normal for Bill to do, but when they was processing the home, the prosecutor was there. Did
Mm,
anybody notice that?
Yeah, that prosecutors get involved in the case. They start they start pushing a narrative. Like I thought the bushy eyebrows in the PCA. Who would come up with bushy eyebrows? That seemed to me like law enforcement had kind of questioned her. Hey, do you have bushy
Mm,
eyebrows? Who would think of bushy eyebrows?
I
So
don't
you don't
know.
think that's a
You ever
great
seen anybody one
description?
time and you thought they had bushy eyebrows?
I thought that was a great description. You know,
It was too great.
bushy eyebrows. That's great. It's a good
Well, let me
description.
ask you guys a question. Do you really believe that those two roommates was actually in the home?
Um, I
I
mean,
really do.
again, their phone data should show everything, especially if they were speaking to each other while the crimes are going on and everything else.
But where
From what
though? But where within? But because the only thing I do know is that they were texting each other, because at first they said they was asleep, then they was in a frozen state, then they changed it to they were texting, but
and
they didn't
somebody
say that
switched
they was
rooms, right?
right. So I think Dylan was supposed to be down in the basement first, and then
At
they moved
first,
her
yeah.
up.
But
Right.
that would
So
make
how
sense because they
everything.
needed a witness.
Well, I mean, technically
That
her room
part.
is on the middle floor. Now maybe she was downstairs when it all happened, but that is
I
where her
don't.
room
I
God
is.
damn.
I don't. I don't think Dylan was in
What's up,
the
golf?
home.
Hey,
How are you?
I Yeah. I think she was told to leave.
good.
That's
Yeah.
my own personal opinion.
But wouldn't? But if they're texting each
They,
other, you're cutting out there. Are you driving?
who, me?
Yeah, you just cut
Hello?
out there.
No,
Yep, I
no,
can
no.
hear you
I'm not
now.
driving. No,
There
I'm
you
not
are.
driving. Thank
Oh,
you.
okay. Yeah, but if I text you right now, okay, they're
Hmm.
like, and it goes to a satellite or whatever, however the hell this shit works, a tower, and then it goes to your phone, then that's a timestamped thing that is saved and my location, correct? So
Possibly.
if they're texting each other, then shouldn't they know where they were texting each other from, or do you think they just didn't look into it? Because I think they just didn't look into it.
I agree. I don't think that they did a thorough investigation, because again, because Dylan's story makes no sense to me. How she walked out, how she was saying, shut the fuck. That her story makes no sense,
And
and
wasn't she
that
the
is,
newest roommate?
huh?
Wasn't she the newest roommate, or am I wrong?
I believe so. I
And
believe
now,
so.
now you as a newest, the newest roommate, would you have the audacity to open up your door and say, "Shut the fuck up"?
No, you would not.
Me neither.
I have
And
a
my
question for
thing,
everybody before you go there, though.
Huh?
Remember what the PCA says. It says
mhm,
they base the timeline on what? What is the timeline based on?
Uh,
Dylan's phone.
Dylan's accounts and
Correct?
movements,
Yeah,
And
yeah.
when we first heard from law enforcement, what was the timeline of the murders?
3 to 4,
Correct.
Three to
and then we know
four.
Kaylee's phone disconnected from the service at 3, so
Correct.
that would make sense.
Correct. And they based it on the same information, right?
Mm,
That never changed.
mm.
So we should not forget that. People do tend to forget these important little tidbits that
But we were
came out
also told they
early
were
on.
sleeping too.
Well, yeah, but that doesn't matter. They,
Everybody.
whatever. Yeah, they just said that they were like covering up for, whatever reason. I understand that, but because they don't want to, make those girls look like something else. But we should not forget that the original timeline changed.
Mhm.
but it was based on the same investigation.
Yeah.
So just that speaks volumes to me, and it always has. And so, and it's just like now, the timeline is going to move up. Watch it happen. It moves up like little by little, because they know
Mm.
that they framed it into like such a narrow timeline that the end
Yeah.
of the PCA is where Brian already left in his car, is when the murder still takes place.
Yeah.
So how are they going to combat that? So
It's impossible.
they're going to have an issue with that timeline for sure.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
He's
I
a
So
super.
that's why my
agree.
question
He's a
was, at
super secret ninja
413.
assassin.
Yeah, right. But that's what my question was. At 413, if Xana is comfortable enough, okay, and she has her phone at that point in time, I'm assuming she's eating, okay, and she's commenting on, was it TikTok or wherever the fuck it was,
Hmm.
then that means at that point in time, Brian is upstairs doing this.
Yeah, and nobody's hearing anything.
My
Yeah, and
ass.
you can hear everything in that house.
Yeah.
My ass.
Yeah, that house was the echo chamber.
You're exactly right.
It was an
Oh,
echo
is
chamber.
that
There
what
is no
the
possible way.
guilters are stuck in? Isn't that where the guilters are stuck in? Echo
I don't
chambers.
know what they're stuck in, but
I don't know
my
either, but
ass.
I can tell you one thing. I like to only look at the documents and what
Yep.
we hear officially from law enforcement.
And what we know.
Exactly. And one thing I do put credit to, what's that author, Howard Bloom, is
Mm.
the information he has that the roommates were communicating with each other that night. I fully believe that. I fully believe that. And that's not based on any any court documents, anything like that, but I do fully believe that they did communicate with each other. Like, did you hear that? Stuff like that. It probably happened.
Yeah. And that's
I
why, like I
agree.
said, it's just, again, this should have never got past a grand jury, one. And two, I think, in my opinion, the prosecution knew damn well. And I think, maybe the timing of, the defense wanting to talk to Bethany is just, in my opinion, a coincidence. I think it's the fact that they didn't want a fucking grand jury or a preliminary at all because they knew they had no evidence to bring forward. How do you have
Well,
a preliminary hearing with no evidence?
I thought that they decided not to do that once Ann Taylor said that Bethany had exculpatory evidence
But
to
again,
exonerate
Yep.
Bryant. And then it changed to, we're not going to do a preliminary. We're just going to go to a grand jury. And that right there tells me that they're hiding something, and they're doing it in plain sight.
Yeah.
They're doing it in plain sight, and we have to be very vocal of how the court system is here to is like they're here for a public service. They're not there for their own agenda. They're not there for their own narrative. They are
Right.
here for the public.
And you
Those
know
trials and hearings should be public. Those trials and hearings should be public. That is the
they
whole
had to
point.
question both of those girls too, and they obviously got
Yeah.
something they were not comfortable with everybody else having because it would bust their hole in their story, and they just put them in timeout basically.
Right,
Well,
because
that's why a lot of
everything,
people
yeah, because
saying that this might not go to trial now. Did something happen or something?
No. So basically, that comes from the latest hearing that we heard, where Judge says, we'll see what happens during trial if this goes to trial. And I think that
That's the
says a
defense
lot.
proposed either of those girls.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, I listened to Andrea Burkhart's
yes,
breakdown,
he's good.
she's really,
He's
really good.
good.
I think
And
She's
Bill Thompson.
good.
I think Bill
Raise your hand
Thompson
if
is-
you've shaken her hand. Me.
Can't
I'm
do
shaking
that.
her hand. Me.
She's really good. She's fair. She's good. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've been watching
Yeah.
her since the Johnny Depp trial.
Yeah,
That
me
was
too.
fun. Yeah.
Yes.
So, but I
Yeah.
do trust her judgment, and the way she actually explained it makes a hell of a lot of sense. That the judge by now knows a lot of information that we don't, obviously, and
Mhm.
how convoluted I believe that this whole investigation is, and reasons why the FBI does not want to let go of those their work and how they work, because for them it's probably not worth it. And
No.
I'm sorry to say that, but that's probably what it comes down to. They don't
So
want to give
if
away
the
But I feel
methods.
like lawyers watch, okay, like, if I was a lawyer, I would watch like crime networks. Okay. So in my opinion, Bill Thompson watches crime networks. And if I was Bill, this is just me, okay, personally. If I was Bill, I'd be sitting there, okay, in my chair, glued to the TV, watching the Karen Reed case and saying to myself, there's no fucking way I'm going to put myself in a position like Mr. Lally is in right now, because that guy, okay, has the biggest uphill battle I've ever seen a man have, which is what Bill's going to have if this goes to trial. So in my opinion, I don't see how this can go to trial. Not even, if it can, how can this go to trial if they
I
have
don't
no
think so.
evidence?
Without
Hey,
the
can I
FBI turning over the evidence, they do not have a trial.
pause the show for a
They'll have
second?
to turn it over.
What up, Twizzy?
There's a new docs today, 3 p.m. May 16th. Leah Larkin and Becca Barlow will be testifying via Zoom. Suck it, Bill. That DNA ain't getting to court, bitch.
Wait, what?
Yeah, baby.
Bring it up. Can
I
you
just looked at.
shoot in the back? I'm gonna bring it up here.
Yeah, I
course
just
I
looked.
can.
I didn't see
My
anything.
man.
Did they just
So
now
Who's
release
that?
it?
It must have just came up.
Pause.
Yeah.
Oh,
There's nothing big. It's just notifying that there's a Zoom call, but it drops the name Leah Larkin and Becca Barlow. So
that's
So-
interesting.
Wow.
that DNA ain't going anywhere, bitch.
Dude, listen. With no touch DNA, they didn't have enough for an arrest. With no bullshit touch DNA, they have no way. Do they have enough for an arrest for a judge to sign off on? No fucking way.
Well, that depends on
Mm.
how they spun it, right? And
No,
it-
they listen. They have probable cause to
Mhm.
arrest him and investigate simply based on him driving in a white car, and there's a white car driving around the house at the
That's
scene
what I mean.
of
That's
the crime.
bullshit.
But they
No
went
way.
way too far. They went way too far.
now I can agree with you, Willie, on the actual
arrest
grand
everybody then.
jury indictment, because that is something that I believe is unconstitutional to begin with. That's just my belief. Is I think grand jury indictments are
I'll say how
unconstitutional.
long? Because you guys, I mean, all you guys up here, I've learned from all you guys. I've learned from everybody in chat. Because again, I'm not going to pretend to be an expert in law because I'm not, and I've learned from all you guys. But my question is, how long is a grand jury process before they come to a determination? Is it a couple days?
No idea. I'm learning
How
as I'm
long
going
it
along.
takes, and, the grand jury can ask questions of themselves in grand jury proceedings.
But how long is it usual? How long is Brian Koberger's grand jury proceeding? Or
Usually that's
yeah.
not
I don't think we know
Maybe.
that.
public,
Well,
unless the defense may have it, but of course nothing is public in this case.
how about this? From when the prosecution went to the grand jury to when Brian Koberger was indicted, how many days was that? Anybody have an estimate?
We don't know that because
Yes, not many.
Okay.
yeah.
So again,
was
my
like
point,
4
like I said in the
months.
beginning, is if we can pay jurors to come in 8 to 10 weeks, right, and then spend all this taxpayer money for investigation and this, that, and the third, and millions of dollars, why not nip it in the ass in the beginning and get unbiased individuals to come in on the grand jury if that is what the prosecution chooses to go route they choose to go? Why do we have these people that just throw people in jail because of bullshit? Like Karen Reed. There's no way in hell me, unbiased, would be on a grand jury. You show me solo cups of fucking blood in the snow and all this kind of bullshit. There's no way you're getting my vote to indict her by any means. But yet she was indicted. Brian Koberger, no evidence. Indicted. Anybody.
I think what it is,
It took 3 days for
the
the grand
public
jury
believes.
to bring a charge against him.
And
Somebody's
this is my personal belief. I
That
Well, I
doc's
believe
up,
that-
Willie.
I believe that a lot of people think that law enforcement are innocent and that they would do a thorough investigation. And with these 3 cases, whether it's the Delphi case, whether it's the Karen Reed case, and the BK case, it really comes to show how there is a narrative, how the police do not do a thorough investigation, that they're really lazy. Again, this happened in my brother case. He was facing 25 to life with 15 felonies, and no one did not do an investigation. They
Yeah,
did it
you
based
know why
on
they're doing
someone's
that?
word. Based on
But do you know
someone's
why they're throwing so many charges
word.
at him?
Yeah,
Do you know
yeah.
why they do that?
What they
Because
call it, like
because it's
beef it up.
bullshit, and Yeah, exactly. That it's bullshit. They just want him to plead guilty to like one or two of them, so he doesn't have to spend 14 lives in
Yeah,
prison.
right.
Yep.
And
That's how
mind
you,
you,
that's how
only
you know it was
5% of
bullshit from the
cases,
beginning.
right? Only 5% of cases actually go to trial. 95% of cases are plea deals.
Yep.
Yep.
Because they
95%.
scare the
That
shit out
is
of you with the
a
maximum.
lot.
What's wrong is
And let's
when
not
they give
forget.
people
Sorry, go
a
ahead.
plea and they don't take it for fear that if they don't win the trial, they get a ridiculous more amount of time. That's just
Yeah.
that's not right.
And everybody's get paid. The
Well,
prosecutors get
also,
paid. The lawyers get paid. The prisons get paid.
like I was gonna
These
say that that's
privatized
big
prisons.
business.
Yeah,
Correct.
our country
That's
Big
the
business.
problem.
more
Mhm.
people per capita than any nation
Right.
on the entire fucking earth.
And the
That's the
only
Yep.
way
problem.
for
Per
the
capita.
court system to change is for us, the public, to fight back. It's for us, for the public, to stop voting these numbskulls into office who do not give a shit. I'm sorry, who do not care about their
Hey, we're
citizens.
uncensored here. You're good.
Anyway, thank you. That's
And
the only way
I
for these
applaud
people to
you.
straighten up.
Hmm.
I
Me?
applaud you, by the way. Yeah, because of what you've done and how you fought
Oh,
it, and that you're sharing it. And I think that's
Absolutely.
very amazing of you to share. And thank you.
my
I
thank
Absolutely.
you. Thank
truly
Yeah.
you.
appreciate it. And
They
Thank
were really
you.
hoping he didn't have a nice sister.
well,
Yeah.
yeah, I
Look at
guess.
right, and this and they were hoping that they didn't have a sister that had $35,000 cash
Right.
Yeah.
Hmm.
because that's how much I spent on
Hmm.
this case, and
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 Crazy.
that
and we did not get not 1 cent back,
I was gonna
not
ask you,
one
like,
cent, not
did you get
not an apology, nothing.
nothing?
I got a
Mhm.
little bit of my bail back. I just got that back because the paralegals were
Mhm.
still in bail money in the law office.
Mhm.
That is so wrong. And the fact that you can't, and the
I
fact
don't
that
I'm
you
mean to
can't
laugh,
telling
even,
but
you,
it's just
that's
like,
what
how much
happened.
else could go wrong?
and there's, and
I was
there's
just
How
nothing,
many
I'm like,
and there's nothing you could do civilly about that to her.
no, the
spent
only thing we can do is
Wheel,
to
I'm gonna need you to turn.
the
I have your mic turned up all the way, dude. I'm gonna need you to turn it up on your end because I
All
can't
right, hold
really
on.
hear you, brother.
My bad.
Sorry, what were you saying?
I said you could spend another 35,000 to get back the 35,000 you lost, which you'd still be negative
pretty
35,000.
much. Pretty much. And
Yeah.
so, check this out. So the newspaper that had my brother's face all on the newspaper, all over social media, they even had him on the sex offenders register list.
Oh
Hmm.
my
And he
God.
wasn't even convicted. He wasn't even
Mhm.
so for those people like, oh, this would never happen. It happens to everyday
And not
people
only
without
that,
a criminal record. Who doesn't
what if he lost his life, because of the charges he had in, jail and something happened to him? You know what I mean? Like then what?
right.
This is
Right. Nothing.
this is a
And so
catastrophe.
I actually wrote a letter to the editor and I was like, you need to do a story on my brother's case and said that this case was a hoax.
Hmm.
And you know what? I get back one line sentence, oh, I'm just gonna do a retraction that the case was dropped.
Yeah, a 2 sentence.
That's all they did.
But I'm
That's so
wondering though
disturbing.
if he was on a sex offenders registry before being convicted, if that's something you could have gone after as far as filing a lawsuit. And I understand all these things cost money. I understand all that, and I don't know in the end if you would have won any monetary compensation. But you
Mm.
better believe people who have money would do it because they want to clear their names, right? But
Hmm.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
probably
I'm
would.
all tapped out. But check
Yeah.
this out. And so we spent since they dropped my brother case in February, we've been
Yeah.
trying to find lawyers, like a civil rights lawyer. No one's do not want to touch this case.
Hmm.
Hmm.
No one. No one wants to go against a female who lied, saying that
Was
she
she
was
Yeah.
ours.
Oh
was
yeah,
No
she
of
one wants to
course
African
touch
not.
it.
American? Can I
No
ask you?
one. Yes, yes, yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
And
That's
in my
probably why.
investigation, And in my, yeah, and I know that. And in my
Mhm.
investigation, it turns out my brother was the third person she accused when she was in high school.
Oh.
I
Oh,
guess when they
shit.
had a skipping day,
Mm-hmm.
she was willingly to partake in the threesome. The boys went to
Oh
school and
my
bragged
God.
about it. Her brother wanted to fight one of the boys, and guess what she said? She
They
was
Your
raped me.
brother
armed.
was the
So my
I
person
brother
mean,
who
was
they
got
the
hard.
hard me. Sorry,
So
YouTube.
yeah. So my brother was the
What's
third
up, Will?
person in her
I said
lifetime.
her brother was the person who basically got hard in a
Absolutely,
situation.
That
absolutely,
that is.
absolutely,
Oh my
Mm-hmm.
God. And then
absolutely.
they
And
just
she
take
and
it.
she
But
did
how do you just take somebody's word for it though? How do they like? How do they not investigate that and just throw? How many charges did they throw on your brother?
15 class one felonies with mixture like
Oh,
kidnapping, drug. Yeah,
so he could
Wow.
yeah. He was
plead to a
facing
couple,
25 to
right?
life.
That's why they did it, so he could
Hmm?
plead to a couple.
Yep.
Yes, but he never.
Yep.
But that's one thing he never did. He's like he's not taking the plea. He wants us to go to trial because we had all the
Amen, bitch.
evidence, and she didn't. Just like and she didn't.
That
So
is
yeah,
very disturbing.
and again, and this is what I'm working on. I'm working on to start talking to the politicians back home in Indiana. We need to start passing laws for people who are being like there needs to be some kind of monetary fund for people who've been falsely accused because you lose everything. My brother couldn't work. He couldn't pay his
Yeah.
rent. He couldn't
Hmm.
take care of his kids.
Well, hold
My
on.
brother had to go to a therapist.
What about the Innocence Project? Do they not deal with these things? With,
No, they
have you
only
tried
do people who was convicted. So my brother was
Mm.
charged.
Wow.
He was convicted. Because
Okay.
again, I worked his case. I investigated his case myself.
Hmm.
And this
And
was
there's
I'm
no
telling
other
people
group.
this happened.
There's no other group
No,
that
I've been
does
looking.
investigate. Oh,
Your
okay.
phone's
No, ma'am.
cutting out
No,
again.
Yeah, it's
ma'am.
kind of. Twiz, you want to read this document real quick?
Oh hell yeah! I've been waiting.
Do you like to read?
No, I don't. But
What do
comes
you got?
now Brian C. Koberger by and through his attorneys of record and with a no objection from the Latah County Prosecutor's Office, and hereby moves this court for an order permitting Zoom participation at the motion hearing currently scheduled for May 16th, 2024 at 3 p.m. Defense counsel has arranged for expert witnesses Leah motherfucking Larkin and Bicca motherfucking Barlow to be available via Zoom on that date and time. But I do have a part highlighted here. I'm going to
Uh-oh.
zoom super far into it if my zoom was on the right thing.
Oh boy. She's bringing out
Ah,
your
I killed the
experts.
zoom. Oh, no, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. It says no objection via email on 5/6/24. Ann Taylor. Has anybody seen a no objection for Ann Taylor on the hearing for the 14th? Because I sure haven't.
Hmm.
Wait. So this is the closed hearing they're talking about,
Yeah,
right?
this is the DNA one on the
Yeah.
16th.
And then and no objection on the hearing, meaning she's accepting the fact that it's going to be closed.
Correct.
Yes. Okay.
But I haven't seen one of those for the 14th.
We can't see shit. This is unbelievable.
Yeah.
This should. I mean, we public deserves a right to see all this shit. Why not?
Well,
Well,
by
I can understand the DNA one kind of.
Plus, I mean, I can
Ann
understand.
Taylor
The
agrees
social
with it, so
security
I agree
numbers and
with it.
shit.
But I know she don't agree with the 14th. So come on, Ann, give me that filing. I've been waiting.
That's what I'm saying. I mean,
Well,
this is so shady.
I was expecting that to be closed anyway because of how I'm telling you, because FBI is not going to give out their methods of how they run their business,
Nope.
not for any
Yep.
case. So that's for sure. I was expecting. So I wasn't surprised really, and I think Judge knows that as well. He's not surprised that this is going on, but
No,
we'll see.
I think she was relaxed until it hit her that Brian's actually fucking innocent, and then she was like, "No way, is he gonna die on my watch?" And that's why you see the passion right now
Hmm.
that you see in these last few hearings, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I mean,
my assessment too.
why would she want someone dead on her watch if she can stop it? You know, because it seems like she's doing everything right here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Man.
and if
I
you
think
have
on Taylor,
your evidence should be absolutely unequivocally slam dunk. Nobody has a question. No possibility that you got a conviction on anything but absolutely unrefutable evidence.
Mhm.
That's my opinion.
They don't have
That's
any.
what it should be.
You know,
I think Ann Taylor was trying to play nice, and I think she's tired of playing nice. I think she should have came out as a warrior from the beginning, but I think she was playing nice.
She
She
couldn't.
was
and
in a sense, but what she wants, what Ann Taylor wants to do is fight all of the bias, because the media and most of the public has said that this kid is guilty, and she wants to clear his name 100%, because that's the only chance he has of having a life afterwards. That's the
Well,
only
no,
chance.
she couldn't. Like in the beginning, you have to think about how these things start. You have to get, what does the other side have? What do they hold in their hand? And that was important, I think, for Ann Taylor to get as much as out of that as possible. She still hasn't seen everything, but at least she got some of it, right? And so I think that's why she wasn't putting up such a strong fight. Now she knows their evidence, so she's much more like, okay, you guys got nothing.
and if they have nothing to hide, why are they taking forever and
Yeah.
seemingly
And
well,
hiding?
by law,
They should
by
want to
law,
parade it.
each parties are supposed to see each other evidence anyways. By law,
Yeah, but
it is called the Brady Rule. It's Brady was it Maryland versus Brady. They
correct.
should be able to exchange evidence. And even if the prosecution have exculpatory evidence to help Ann Taylor, they need to turn that over as well.
Sure, but how long did it take
It
you?
is
Look, how long it took you to just get
right. It took
it.
me right. It took me 2 years, even though I had the evidence. It took a year before the prosecution saw the evidence.
Yeah, that's insane.
And I turned over the evidence, and it took a year. So
Yeah,
and so
I'm
for people to
skeptical.
say how come he will hold on to the alibi is not true. Everything have hearings. There's motions. The criminal process is a very slow and tedious process. It doesn't move quickly. It doesn't move because you have evidence to help your case. It doesn't matter. The court's going to move however they're going to move. Period.
Yeah.
With or without the evidence. And that's what the public needs to know.
Mm-hmm.
It's not easy. It's expensive. It was such a grueling and process because you don't know, because my brother's life was in limbo for over 2 years.
Yeah, and that's why I really want to know how Brian's parents feel, because obviously, we don't hear from them. People want to suggest because they're not coming out that they, they're upset and think he did it and all this kind of bullshit. So I'm actually thinking about dropping off a letter in their mailbox and seeing if I get some kind of response, because that's something that's very easy to do.
Most people don't have the money to jump on a plane and fly across the country every other month.
Say it again, man. Listen, I can't hear you.
So most people don't have the financial means to jump on an airplane and fly across the country to see their loved ones in a situation like this. I mean, it's
exactly, and we see, but we see in the with the Sebastian Rogers thing going on, we see when people come out and start talking that all of a sudden people take sides and people start going nuts. So if his parents did come out and talk, people would be sending them death threats, all kind of stuff probably, and it wouldn't be a good thing. So I think it's smart that they're not saying a word.
They probably got that already. Like, I think they're destroyed. I can imagine. I cannot, I should say, imagine what they're going through. Like, they're like completely destroyed. I can guarantee you that. It's like good that they are keeping quiet and not saying anything. It's to protect themselves and to protect, Brian's rights as well in that.
Is it illegal to put something in somebody's do I have to is it illegal to put it in somebody's mailbox, or do you have to send it in the mail?
Technically, you're not supposed to do that.
Oh shit.
I mean,
But
you need,
Well, let me
technically doesn't mean illegal. So is it illegal?
well let well let me explain what happened to me. I believe it was last summer. I was talking to my brother phone who was talking about this case,
Damn it.
and I just started screaming because I felt so helpless.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah,
Because
I can't
you
imagine.
can't talk about the case. You can't go to the public and say my brother's innocent. You
Yep.
can't. You are forced to say nothing. And I'm telling you, it is the most helpless feeling in the world. And I don't wish that on anyone. I don't wish it on anyone. And the public have to understand this can happen to everyday people. This is not a joke. I see people making fun of BK and of the alibi. Oh, he's out there in the moons and stars. That has nothing to do with it. He could be tiptoes in a tulip. The GPS says he was somewhere else. That's what matters. Stop making
Yeah.
fun of people who are loners or people who, because I'm in the same situation. I moved out here
Yep. He
and
was only
I
there for
live by
5 months.
myself. Right. And I live by myself. I go for walks at night. I go to drives at night because it's not easy to meet people, you know? And it's not easy to meet people and they think you a little strange or weird or whatever. But me living in the city and when I do go back home to the
Yeah.
Midwest, I love looking at the stars and the moon at night. I
Hmm.
love that. And for people to make fun of someone who take pleasure in looking what God created,
Mm.
it makes no sense to me. And people are making fun and light of it because they never went through it. They never had to cry themselves to sleep. They never, because I have to hear my brother on the verge of suicide, okay? Where he couldn't even get out of bed.
Jesus Christ.
I mean, I can't tell you how many times where I call his phone and I'm like, I'm about to drive from Virginia back to Indiana just to see how he's doing. No one really knows what this does to a person, what it does to the
Exactly.
family, to the
it does
children, to
And
the
that's
uh,
why I'm glad,
parents.
you came up because you've gone through this. So I'm glad, I'm really glad you
Yeah,
came up tonight and you found my channel
yeah,
somehow because I know I'm not too
yeah.
big, but I
Because
appreciate you being
a
here.
year ago, because I actually saw golf on another channel, I believe with Truth and Transparency,
Oh
because
yeah,
every
she's actually going live later. Actually, I think in like 20 minutes, and Cy Ray's going to be on. So that's
no
why I didn't.
way.
Yeah,
What?
yeah, that's
What?
what. Listen, okay,
Sorry.
don't shoot the messenger. I might be wrong, but hold on,
No. Oh
because
my
a lot
Yeah,
of
goodness. Because
people in
that.
chat they can verify.
I watch his channel and it is good. That man he can find anything. He was like, as long as you have a phone, he
See,
can
it work.
find anything.
Yeah, Cy Ray on TNT confirmed. See, all right, 9 o'clock. That's why, like,
Oh,
I wasn't planning on going live like fucking 3-4 hours tonight because of that. So I just
Mm.
wanted to have a
oh my
nice
gosh.
chat with y'all,
Okay.
and
All
yeah, I
right.
mean, like I said, I mean,
How's
he's not
that
obviously not going to talk about
the case? Yeah, he
the
can.
Idaho case. He's going to talk
Yeah.
about the Karen Reed case, I believe.
Ah, okay.
Good. Yeah.
But
He's
still, it's going to be
thorough.
an
I think
insight into what he can do and what he knows and his knowledge and shit. And that to me, that's important. I don't give a shit about what people know about other. No, I like when you listen to somebody, you can gauge how that. And to me, when
yes.
Cy
Mhm.
talks, people listen.
Yes. Yes,
I
he's
know I do.
thorough and he's really good at what he does. And I don't think the public should make fun of him or make light of him. Bill Thomas needs to worry about what Cy Ray is capable of doing. Because
Oh,
not
he is
only that
worried.
he's an expert in cellular, but he's also an investigator
Oh,
Did you
he's
as
on the
see?
well.
shit.
Did you
Sorry,
see
when
how
is it?
Bill
Is it
Thompson is
tomorrow?
trying to stop him from being able to
Yes.
testify? Yeah, he is
Yep.
afraid.
Yeah.
Shit.
But that's illegal. You can't tell the other team who they can't have as a witness. That's illegal.
Yeah,
Come on.
and then to say that
Well,
Brian
it's not
shouldn't be
illegal
able to
because
have Brian should have to like basically take the stand and say what the fuck he was doing that night, and
yeah,
he can't have any kind of experts. That is so disgusting to me.
yeah.
I
So
have never
he
seen that
wasn't
happen.
doing it illegally. He was just trying to twist it around a little bit. I think is he did his
Mm.
best, and I honestly somewhere deep down I do feel bad for him because he's put in They threw him to the wolves, is what they did effectively.
Oh, talking about Cyree or BK?
When is
Well, I'm
that?
talking about Bill Thompson. They threw Bill Thompson to the wolves, and now he's like the one that has to fight for the case, right? So
Yeah.
there is a part
Well,
of me that I feel
do you
bad.
think that Bill Thompson, deserved to be thrown out to the wolves?
I don't
Does he
think
deserve it?
I don't like I just like this is this man's last leg.
He
He's
could
going to
drop it at any
retire.
time though, so
He
But that makes it even more clear for him to have a more thorough investigation.
I would think so,
Mhm.
but what if
There's
what I don't know what he knew and didn't know. The way we've heard the
Si's
story is
not on TNT tonight, Twiz.
oh, he's not.
yeah, I know. I just showed the live. It's something to do with
Yeah.
Idaho 4.
So when I mean I keep saying people keep saying he's not on tonight. When is he on?
I'll look.
Yeah.
Jesus.
No, but the way we've heard the story is um Fry,
Mhm,
calls Bill Thompson and says, "Hey man, we got the
mhm,
right person here," and blah 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 blah. So that's how he
mhm.
finds out that they caught Brian Koberger. So we don't know how he was brought into this or why he even decided to do this last case. I guess he wanted to go out with a bang, and now he is. So there's a part of
He's
me.
about to go out with something. He's
He's
about to go out with something.
I mean, not that I don't
But
feel
I
bad
think
for Brian, but I feel, like this is sort of tragic because mistakes were made. Let's just say that for sure. Mistakes were made. And it's like, it costs Brian, I don't know how much time, when he will get out, because eventually they're gonna have to. But this taints a lot of things in that whole community as well.
Maybe Sai's coming on for the Drake thing tonight, perhaps. I don't. This is the only other
People
great.
live
said
I
not.
see planned
People said not
besides
tonight.
tomorrow.
So it might be. I don't know. I don't know. I thought. I thought people were saying he was coming on tonight and shit earlier.
Yo, if you guys haven't watched Sai Ray's 29th episode, Small Town Girl, your mind will go
no, that
poof.
was good. Yeah, that was good. I watched it about a week ago. It's really good. It's really good. But I think with
So
BK and with Cyree, I think he can sleep a little better at night, hopefully.
yeah, I mean, yeah, knowing that he is an expert that can. I mean,
Mhm.
again, Cyree's not gonna bullshit. Like this is his first time
No.
ever being on the defensive side. Why? Why?
Mhm.
There has to be a reason. He probably
I
looks at
think
Brian as somebody
Cyree.
that doesn't deserve this, and he looked at it and was like, "Holy shit!" And that's why.
Mhm.
But he was there early on because I thought Lana showed pictures of him going in the house like way back. So
Yeah, it was before it was
Yes,
destroyed.
this is before it was destroyed. Have anyone seen that before where you can actually take the house, which is
what,
evidence?
Robert?
Have anyone seen where they just tore down a home, even though it's evidence?
I
No,
certainly haven't.
I have not. I'm sure it happened, but
Before a
usually
trial.
Mm.
Ugh.
Golf, I have a question.
Did Drake get shot?
no, it was his security guard.
No.
It was his security guard that got
Oh
shot.
my God! There's so much beef going on with him and the guy who
Kendrick
Yeah.
Lamar.
Kendrick Lamar. Yeah, I mean that last thing he put out was that last rap he put out a couple days ago was wild about
We're
Drake.
talking
So,
about a completely different Drake case.
oh,
I'm
my
I'm
bad.
with Willie here. I don't know what you're talking about.
He's
I'm
I'm
with
talking
talking
about
Drake the
Drake.
Stay in the
rapper.
world of hip
Drake the
hop.
rapper.
No, Dr. Drake's the was he the one
Holy
that got killed or
shit!
the one that got falsely
I just got
accused?
fired up,
Are you
dude.
talking about the chiropractor? in Idaho?
Yeah.
Hey Willie, I was with you. I knew exactly who you were talking about.
Oh my God, I'm freaking out right now. My heart, like I swear to God, if you felt my heart rate right now, I thought there was about to be some kind of crazy shit going on in the hip hop world. Damn.
Well, there's always something going on in the
Oh, there is a
Yeah, but
story
they're all
going
sick.
on about the rapper Drake, and it's been in the news the last few days. But
Yeah, well, I'm still
I
waiting
don't
for
know
the,
what
you
to
know, for
believe
them
in
to
that
do something with, because I mean, we saw, I mean, I'm guessing the whole world saw how they went in P Diddy's house, but yet P Diddy's still walking around. It's been how long?
Oh,
So
they
what the
didn't
hell
do
are they
it to
going like
arrest
that
him.
for?
They did it to protect themselves.
Oh, wow. So they go 100 deep to protect themselves, huh?
Yep.
It really comes to show that with money, power, influence, and the badge goes a long way. They can do
Yep.
anything that they want.
And then grand jury, bang, you're indicted.
That's that's it.
Bang,
It's
bang,
it's
bang.
that simple. It's that simple. It's not hard. It's not complicated as people think it is.
No.
It's very, very simple that you can go and just make up anything. Because I keep saying that PCA, I barely believe anything in that PCA. I think it's all garbage. I think the roommates lied to in
Mm,
a lot of it.
preach.
Because, like I said before, and in my brother's case, there were 3 affidavits. I'm sorry, it was one discovery, 2 affidavits, and all 3 documents was a lie. And in the back of the PCA, the detective who's writing it out was saying, "Hey, I believe this story fully." Da 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 da. And they say what they believe without an investigation.
Yeah,
How can you believe
they don't
anything if
want
there's
to
no
believe. You don't have
investigation?
evidence. You know, where's your evidence? Why you believe this?
Exactly.
It and
I believe
that's where the
this.
public needs to know that the PCA are mostly theories of what happened. There's no proof on what someone said. How can you prove of what I'm saying is wrong or right unless you do some kind of forensics of some kind?
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And so for these people to take the PCA as gospel, it is
Yep.
not gospel. You have to
Well,
read in between the
they
lines.
just
You
didn't
have
expect
to
this. I
ask
mean,
questions. You
They
have to
turned,
ask
yeah,
questions.
but kind of
but they
like in your
turned it
case, how, you
around.
know, nobody really has heard about, you know, the case with your brother, you know, which everybody
Mhm.
should. You know, I think, in my opinion, they didn't expect this to go viral. They expect that, you know, this, you know, them to just do all this without everybody going live about it and talking about it because it's not making sense. They just thought they were going to arrest Brian and everybody was going to shut up and go away. But instead, everybody's like, yo, what what the fuck's going on? Now Bill finds himself in a pickle.
Okay. Y'all remember a few years ago with regarding the lacrosse team that was accused of the R word? You
The
remember
Duke 8?
that?
The Duke 8 or whatever?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. It was at the Duke University, and
Hmm.
Nancy Disgrace told
Yeah,
talking
you're
about
definitely
those
fitting well here.
boys.
Uh-huh.
Those boys sit up there and tell me, oh, they white, they rich, they deserve to die in prison. You remember that?
Disgrace.
And everybody jumped on board, did they not?
Yeah, they got
How the
profiled
public
basically.
turned on them. And guess what happened in that case? The prosecutor withheld evidence. The prosecutor withheld evidence for a year that the DNA shows that those boys didn't do it.
Hmm.
Mm.
But that's what I'm saying is the PCA is one thing in Brian Koberger's case. The way people twist it is because they listen to a one-sided story, right? So basically everybody says, well, how can you defend it? Because his car is there, he's at the right time, he's got the, he went the route, he was there, he pinged there, blah, blah, blah. But what they don't understand and don't think about is that they built the case around Brian Koberger.
Yeah,
They
to fit
built
that.
a
Yes.
case around
Yes,
Brian Koberger. So it doesn't
exactly.
really matter. Those details could be anything. They could have changed it.
Yeah. Yep.
They built the case around him and not
Kind
the
of
other
like a
way
web,
around.
kind of like a web going from like
Correct.
outward inward.
Yes.
It went from inward and then out, like they arrested him and then investigated, kind of like, you know, they did, in
Of
my
course it
opinion,
Let's
with
fits.
make this
Yeah, of
not
course it
quite
fits.
your
round
brother.
egg in this round
Yeah.
hole. We'll just
I mean, they're
do a
going to
little
come
here, do a
across
little there.
issues,
Oh, make it
but of
work.
course it fits because if you build a case around someone, it's damn going to fit. And that's that.
Right.
The
For
timing
okay,
thing,
let me bring up another case, the West Memphis 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
How the prosecutors, right? You remember those 3 boys that was accusing of hurting those
Mhm.
boys, and how the prosecutors had no evidence, no motive, no
They were
nothing, and they
poor,
still
didn't have good representation, and they got
yes.
crucified.
And
That's the
again,
point. No
it is
money.
easy how they can build a case around a narrative, because the car that they show in that video, when they said it was BK car, and I'm like, that's not his car. It got a sunroof and tinted windows.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm like,
How
no
many,
one didn't see the tinted windows and the rooftop.
Yeah.
I mean,
how many
and
Look at
and the
houses
sunroof. Like, really?
well, look at the
in
Karen
that
Reed
area?
case. Okay, Karen Reed. Okay, what motive does Karen Reed have to kill her husband outside of a house where
Yeah,
there's a
and
whole
who
bunch of where there's a whole
chooses
bunch
that
of
method to do it? That should be the most
where there's a whole bunch
plan
of
ever.
well, hold on a second. Where there's a whole bunch of fucking police officers. Okay, so why wouldn't she? If she wanted him gone, why wouldn't she do this somewhere out and about where she could try to get away with this? She does this in front of the house full of officers. One, two. Now that he's gone, there's two kids that she knows damn well she's not capable of taking care of, and how great of a father John was. So where in the fuck is the motive for her to do this to John? Nowhere.
Right.
But yet
Again,
they scooped up
power,
some
badge,
blood.
and money.
They scooped up some blood, okay, in red Solo cups. They put it in a grocery bag, okay. They brought it off to the fucking police station. They took her vehicle in. All of a sudden now her vehicle's broken, and they find taillight all over the yard where his body was. Magically, like, but yet when nobody saw taillight there when they first arrived, not one fucking person saw any taillight. But they
And not to
found
mention
clear
those-
glass.
And there was no bruising on his body. And there
And
was
his
no
hand
bruising on his body.
Whoa,
And they had a
one at a
contract.
time.
Man,
Somebody's
I was-
glitching out there.
Yeah.
I don't know
I
who
was
that
going to
is.
say those taillights are actually safe.
There you
There's a name for it. They make them
Safe
so that
glass.
it's one of those that you can't really get killed on. I don't know the definition of it, but somebody posted it today, and it's got a name, a specific name, what those taillights are made out of, and they're sort of safely made taillights.
Yeah, I mean, and like I said, there's no dent. There's no nothing.
Yeah.
And this man was 6'2", 6'3".
So that means
somewhere in there.
that should have been. So that means it should have been some kind of massive impact bruising
Amen.
on his
Well,
body.
the
Nice
only
fist
way
over and
that
over
could
and
have
over and
happened
over.
is if he was caught, like, let's say, between two cars.
Yeah.
That I could believe, right? But this is not the situation. He's like, you just bump into someone and they die from someone bumping into you with a safe taillight. I mean,
Those guys beat him silly with their fists, is what happened.
I don't
Absolutely.
know if
Even
it's
even the
called
cop said it.
Yeah, but it's called something. It's made out of some kind of material, and it's not supposed to kill
And
you.
how does a glass from
Into it.
a drink that he had stick into the bumper, a piece of glass, supposedly? That's the most retarded thing I've ever
Who
heard
the
of.
hell are you as an investigator to think, right, that glass, just because somebody fucking told you he was at the bar last night, your mind goes to, oh, he took the glass here from the bar. Fuck out of here. You would go in that house if it was any other person, and you would look to see if there's a matching glass. Wouldn't you? Because I fucking would. But because the person in the house was who he was, that's why they didn't go in there and search. It's a bunch
he
of
was-
bullshit.
Yeah, Joanne, polycarbonate. So that's
Poly.
yes.
Poly.
So anyway, I guess
I read something yesterday. One of the Albert's sons that was there was basically, they said he was he was a dealer. I don't know how true it is.
Yeah. That case is a circus. That's why I said, or that trial is a circus. That's why I said, I don't think Idaho 4 is going to make it, because it's going to be just like the Karen. It's
I
going to
don't think
mirror
so
the Karen
either.
Reed.
I think they won't do anything till probably maybe till the end of the year, but I don't think it's going to make it to trial.
I think
There's
Brian,
no possible way.
I think Brian well, his name on here is Brian Ramles, but he said something a couple of days ago, and again, I'm going to give him credit again, that they only did this, in my opinion, now that from what he said, and it kind of clicked in my head. So everybody in the community, it kind of all died down. Now everybody would relax because it's been long.
We got the guy. Everybody can take it easy now. No worries. That's they wrapped him up in a bow in a box.
But mind you, Also, when it comes to victims, over 90% of victims know their perpetrator. Over 90%. Okay. Just like in Aaron Reed's case, he was, I still don't know what happened to him. I know that they said he was attacked by a German Shepherd. But he knew those people that lived. You
You're
understand
cutting
that?
out real.
Pulled his,
You're cutting out real bad.
who, me?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. I didn't hear.
all
I
right.
didn't hear
All
anything
right.
you
Can
just
you hear me
said.
now?
Yep, that's better.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
All
Yeah. What were
right.
you saying?
So just like I said in Karen Reed's case, where her fiance was, I'm not sure what happened in this case, but it did show that he was attacked by a German Shepherd. The
Mhm.
point I was making is that over 90% of victims know their perpetrator. All right. And the same thing in the
Mhm.
in the B case, because everybody trying to make like that this complete stranger, because mind you, as Kay say, like this outsider, got the nerve to come into our town and do this. All right. He did not know those girls, but how the media and the police
Mhm.
spin the narrative that they had some sort of connection when there was no connection at all. And this is what bothers me about this case, because nobody don't want to ask the difficult questions, especially when it comes to the roommate.
Mhm.
I'll be looking. I'll be
Crime.
looking twice after with a Sigma Chi needs to be reinvestigated, because how come these boys was constantly over at the house all the time and they know nothing? And mind you, Ethan's brother is still, was a fat brother of the same fraternity,
Hmm.
you know?
I think
So,
there's a lot of people who knows a lot of things in that community, but
mhm.
nobody's going to talk as long as they are connected to that community. You
No.
will
But
see people come out and talk after they leave that school and that environment. That's when you'll see people are scared to talk. And
Well,
I
but
believe that's
why?
true.
But
because
why?
They might
because
know
you have the whole
something.
community then against you.
Yeah.
What do you mean,
Move.
why?
But I mean, I don't understand. Me,
Not
I'm
everybody
the
could just
one.
pick up and
If
move though.
well, because I'm one of those. If I see something, I say something. There's 5 families. Well, I'm sorry, 5. If you include Kohlberger's family as well. His
Yeah.
families are a victim. Then you have the victim's family.
Yep.
Because there's no closure, because the Moscow Police Department did not do a thorough investigation. Why not? Because if I know, if I have something, if I know something, you can do things without leaving your name. You can write anonymous letter, something. Get a lawyer and have your lawyer turn it
But you
over.
gotta understand, it
But
doesn't
When it
matter.
comes to
They can go there showing exactly who did this crime. They're not going to do shit
Mhm.
about it. You understand? They're not going to do nothing.
yeah, yeah, when it comes to
Mm.
unaliving somebody, the no snitching thing is out the window, in
Yeah.
my opinion.
Mm.
Well, my thing is how, like I said, if Brian gets off, they can't. This case will go cold because they have no crime scene. Just like you mentioned earlier, they knocked down their crime scene. They're gonna, they thought Brian was gonna take some kind of plea. He's not. Now they're in a, like I said, they're in some. They don't know what to do. The prosecution is
They
squirming.
actually caught the actual perpetrator. Now it would be about impossible to convict.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I mean, unless that person had their
Mm.
phone, okay, and you could take that person's phone and put them. But I'm sure by now that person, if the person's been watching the news and saw somebody, all that shit's gone. It's all gone.
Yeah, and unfortunately, when it comes to false allegations,
Oh
once the
god.
person gets off and the charges are dropped, the cases do go cold. It's rare that they actually find the actual perpetrators.
And that's so sad because the
Mhm.
families were begging the university to not knock it down, and they didn't give two shit. Money, money, money. Unbelievable.
I thought that was disgusting, actually, because once they did that to me, that showed me that they did not want to get to the truth, and they didn't want anybody else to ask questions to get to the truth. That's what I saw from that. I'm like, that's quick. Just like after he was arrested, I'm like, wow, that was fast. Because I thought it would be at least a year before they caught the perpetrators. And it
Now
was
they're
just this
never
whole
gonna catch the
narrative.
perpetrators.
Right. And now this narrative, oh, he's an incel, that's what caught my attention.
Yeah, okay.
Because I thought it was, a drug deal gone wrong. That's what I took from it. That's what I took from it.
Well, that's
I
why.
didn't.
Well, that's why so many people hate. Like when I, go into those, when I go into those murky waters and shit, people hate me over there because they know they can't put that. They can't come at me with that bullshit that he's an incel because they know damn well that I know and I've already proved he's not a fucking incel. It's just I'm not big enough, like these individuals to be able to get it out. Like everybody,
Right.
some of these people.
6'3" dude with wide shoulders ain't
Right.
no incel. Even if he wanted to be one,
And-
chicks are throwing themselves at him. It's just how it is.
Wait till
Yeah,
I have
Well, I
he
don't
just
like
didn't
that.
have any game. He just basically didn't get laid a lot.
Yeah, well, wait till I have.
Well, I
Like I
don't
said,
like the
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I
What were
was
you
saying I
saying?
didn't like the fact how I like the fact that they had like guys on their YouTube channel who's been married 30, 40 years and trying to tell people how how weird BK is. And my thing is you're not under 30, you're not on Tinder. This is what dating is nowadays in 2024,
But they brought up
2023.
a rap.
It's
But they brought up a rap he made when he was a kid. They brought up shit that he did when he was back in high school. And in my opinion, means
yeah,
absolutely
10 years
nothing.
ago.
Who
Yeah,
wants to know what
exactly.
I was doing in high school?
What?
None of you.
Right.
No, in general. Who wants to know?
We were
Right.
probably
No
all
one.
I was
stupid.
going
Yeah.
nuts in high school.
Yeah, I never seen anybody who literally turned a life around. Like he became a model citizen.
Especially off of drugs. Yeah.
He became a model citizen.
We do
My
know that
cousin,
he's not an incel because that pool party that everybody was at, he got two girls'
Mhm.
phone numbers, right? In
And they
one
said,
phone
I don't care if you're a little weird. You're tall and you got big shoulders. Come here, big boy.
call. No,
Yeah.
whatever. They can say whatever they want.
And then they got some chick to come on to make him sound like he was weird because
And who,
she went
all
on
of
a
us
date with
had
him and all
some
kinds
kind
of
of
stuff.
friend or somebody we were around that was just different, weird. And we're basically
So-
all weird in some kind of way.
but my thing is, was this done intentionally to do what? Like why say all of that? To me, it's slander. But why say all of these things if it's not true? Why do that? I mean, why add so much fluff and lies to spin this narrative? For what reason? What purpose do the public get from that? Just to point our fingers at someone and just to call him names and make fun of him? To me, I think that is disgusting for a person to do anyways. But why? If the prosecution have the evidence that he did it, then stand on that. But don't add this other sub narrative into it. I don't care how he acts. I don't care who he banged. That's none of my business. Have the facts. To me, that's as important. And we need to stop. It's really disgusting. Not only that, but I also believe like court TV and law crime networks, because if I leave a comment, they pay certain people to go on these sites to harass people who support BK and to say, I think that BK is innocent, and this is why I think he's innocent. And it'd be a barrage of commenters that would jump on me or anybody else, and they would call us names and tell us, we're stupid and everything else, just because we say, hey, regardless of what you may feel, he has civil rights. He is a human being like
But
everybody
that
else
happened.
here.
But,
Yeah, and
but
Willie and I have disagreed on a lot of things, but we've never been.
no.
We've agreed to disagree on things with respect.
Well, that's why, like I said, I understand that, if all these people who argue about this shit, if we were all, hanging out on a beach or something, and there was, somebody that needed help in the water or at a pool, and somebody needed, a dog or a person was drowning, I'm sure we would all, help and get that person out. Okay, so I don't understand why everybody argues with each other just because, they have different opinions, and then they take it off of YouTube and start threatening. It makes no sense to me.
Yeah, it's attack the
Yeah.
message person. If you don't agree,
Yeah, because a lot of people don't take the time to read the Constitution. Please take the time
it's one of the
and
best
read the Constitution, read the Bill of Rights. Because I'm telling you, I see like his Sixth Amendment is being violated, his Fourth Amendment is being violated as we speak. So whatever happens, so if
First
if
Amendment
Bill
as
Thomas
well.
First Amendment,
According
thank
to
you.
Andrea Burkhart. I haven't
Yes,
seen that part yet, but I've heard it.
we
yes.
have the right to address our grievances with the government.
And these are rights that we have as Americans.
Truthfully with facts.
And these are rights that we have in Americans. These are right. This is not my right as a Black American, whatever. I am an American first. And these are my rights. And you do not have the right to violate my First Amendment. You have no right to violate my civil rights, my human rights, or any other rights. This is something that we need to fight for. So what if people believe he's guilty? You can think that all day, every day, but he still have rights. And even though somebody got a badge, money, guns, influence, don't give you the right of having power over someone's liberty. No one should be sitting in jail right now for something that they did not do based on very little or circumstantial evidence. That's bullshit. And that is not something as we as Americans should stand for.
Preach.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Preach. No, listen.
I'm
This is what
sorry.
I've been saying for months. This is why I moved to Pullman. This is why I went to the hearing last week. This is why I'm standing outside of the hearing on the 6th, 14th, and the 16th. Even if I can't go in, I don't give a fuck. If it can happen to Brian, it can happen to you. It can happen to me.
Any of us. I'm
driving around to Wawa at night. They could frame me the same way they framed him. I'm putting myself in that same boat.
Be careful, dude.
Thank you, Jody. I am like this case is really gotten to me where I am thinking about, making a trip up to Idaho and checking out if these hearings, because it is our right to sit in on a public hearing.
Well, I'm curious if this does somehow, some way go to trial, if people are going to be outside the courtroom like they are in this, the Karen Reed case where there's hundreds of people outside with pink shirts on and shit. I don't think there's going to be anybody outside of Idaho, if this goes
he's
to trial.
a white straight male. He's a white straight male. We'll see.
But that's what I'm saying. I don't think there's going to be people, doing the same shit that they're doing in Massachusetts. So
I don't think so.
They should be.
I don't think so.
What's the difference?
Well, because I didn't know about the Karen Reed case until I was watching Truth and Transparency, and because I wasn't aware of it. But believe me, if it was flipped,
a clown show. I just can't believe it's happening. How it's happening.
Right, because if this was flipped, if Karen was a Kenneth, it'd be a different story. You know what I mean?
Well, again, it'd be a different story if it was mine or yours' house. Okay. And there was a body on her lawn and a cop said, can we come in? Then at least say that, let alone go get a fucking search warrant. So and the cop said it, and the cop admitted it today. I mean, that cop, in my opinion, that cop lied all day today. The one that was cross-examined. So oh my God, there's so many people committing perjury. It's literally, I mean, I lost count.
And this again, it comes to show you someone with a badge can still go on stand and pledge to tell the truth and nothing but the truth. So help you lie. They still lie.
Yeah.
They still lie. It is not your job to lie. If you made a mistake, just say, hey, I made a mistake. I didn't do what I was supposed to do.
Who's hold on
And
one
it's not
second.
just your testimony, it's
Who's being
what
an
they don't
instigator in
tell you
chat?
that they want kept out of the narrative.
Say
The
that again?
hiding accurate things that they push under the rug.
Yeah. So
Happens
wait,
every day. That's what
one
bothers
second.
me. This case
second.
we cover, it's like the thousands upon thousands that are going on a daily basis across the country.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the ones we don't know about is the like I said, her
How
brother.
many
We
people
don't know
do
anything
you
about
think
that.
the Murdoch family is solicitor for 84 years, somebody in their family? How many poor white and black souls that they charged and convicted and sent to prison just because they could on totally framing people? How many people
It
in 84
happens every day.
years? I ain't no telling.
It happens every day, sadly. Yeah, it happens more than what we think. And this is go back to where I see people, make these salacious comments, and I'm like, I have no
Exactly
effing
right.
clue. You have no effing clue of how when you're
Yep.
forced in the criminal system. Just how
Mhm.
B Case was forced in the criminal system. My brother was
Let me
forced in the
ask one
criminal
question.
system.
How many
Mhm.
documentaries have you guys seen where somebody was wrongly convicted, they basically found out, and then the DA does everything possible in over several years to make the truth take forever to come out and never admit we screwed up? Ever.
Never, yeah, hundreds. And this is my point. And this is why I work so hard for my brother's case, okay? Because once they go to trial and they are convicted, all right, and they're seen as guilty, it is harder to get them out.
It's almost
This is why we have to fight before they go to trial. This is why we have to knock on everybody's doors and, scream on top of our lungs. Like we have to really get involved and let people know that whomever, whether it's BK, a family member, or a complete stranger, that if we do the work ourselves, we can change what's going on. I never in my life that think that something like that would happen to me. Now, I'll say this, my brother's case was the second family member that was falsely accused of the
I
R
had something
word.
to me on a silly charge that
Second.
The second.
that should have never happened, and it bothered me. I was in a convenience store getting ready to go to a cookout. I'm at the register. And call said, "Hey, bring me a couple of beers that are cold because our beers haven't been on ice long." And so I'm on my phone. I lay it down. I said, "Ma'am, I'm gonna run to the cooler real quick." Blah blah blah. Come back, get the beer, go. About 45 minutes later, my mom calls. The police came out of the house according to your next door neighbor, and we're looking for you. And she said that they said you stole somebody's cell phone. I said, "What?" So I go back to the store. They've got 100 video cameras everywhere. And this police officer says, "We know you did it. Come clean, come clean." I said, "What do I need to come clean about?" He would never listen to me. I said, "Let's look at the video." I said, "Dude, if I were to start stealing right now, it damn sure wouldn't be cell phones." Long story short, he wouldn't listen. I finally left. A week later, they knock on my door at 6 a.m, handcuff me, charge me with larceny. It goes in the paper. Every relative and friend calls and asks a gazillion questions. Now, once your name system is charged with something, it don't come out. They dismissed it and said, "Well, we found out some lady had mistaken and left her phone under the couch." I never heard of this lady's name, did not know her, but it went in the system. So now I got a dismissal on a larceny charge. Well, anybody looks at that, if I were to be looking for another job, it's he's out, even just charged, even if it was dismissed, it screws you up.
It really does.
And, it's nothing like your brother went through. I don't even want to even closely, but the feeling I had, I felt like, good God. I mean, this guy didn't do no more than he did. Had a gazillion cameras and charged me with the larceny of somebody's cell phone.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
That's what I mean.
yeah,
They,
I'm so,
they don't care.
yeah, I'm sorry that happened to you. Oh, let me share you a story that my coworker told me this morning. So this morning, my coworker was telling me how him and his wife have to spend, I think it was like $20,000 for a lawyer and get his son out on bail. What happened was the
Oh boy.
son was convicted of selling candy. Okay, I'm not sure if I can say
You can say
the
it.
D
What is it?
word. Oh, so
Selling drugs?
my coworker's son, yeah, for selling drugs. And so he's telling me the story of how in the affidavit, he said it was very detailed. It gave times, it gave dates, it gave whom he sold drugs to. He said that the PCA was a complete lie because his son was out of state when it happened. They said it happened in Maryland. His son was in Delaware when it happened. And how they got his son's name was
Okay.
his son went to school with somebody who was
Mhm.
in jail and said, "Hey, if you give me a lighter sentence, I can give you a name of a drug
Sorry,
dealer."
Jody.
Happens
Jesus.
every day.
So again, and I was like, wait a minute. I'm like, what? And I was like, based on what he said, his son was arrested.
What's
And
up with that?
when he went to court, the first thing the prosecutor asked is, does your client want to take a plea? So again, for people to think that this does not happen to everyday people, it does. Every week I hear a different story of someone being falsely accused every week. This is why I want to go ahead and take the bar exam so I can start helping people in their cases. Matter of fact, I'm helping
You
a
really should.
coworker. I'm helping a coworker with her a family member case that's being convicted of second-degree murder when it was a self-defense case. I'm like, this is what you need to do because this is what I did. I can't tell people to get up and just change their lives, but if you have the strength in you to not take the shit lying down, don't take it.
Yeah. Go back to
Right?
school.
Because
Go to law school. Do it.
I wish my brother had the lawyer that Ann Taylor is, because I did all the work. I did what the paralegal should have done.
Yeah,
I
and,
got
and he's
copies
lucky he
of,
had you because not
oh
everybody
my God,
has,
yeah.
family
Oh
members to know what the fuck to do in situations,
yeah.
especially the investigative work you did.
I'm telling you, it was painful, but at the same time, I thank God every day that I was here at this time to help him. Because if I wasn't here, my brother would have been gone, like mentally. Like my brother would have did something drastic because he's not as strong as I am. You know what I mean? He's not
Yeah,
as
my first
strong.
cousin's not a lawyer, and he argued they don't cross the T's and dot the
Fucking
I's. He'll argue.
15 felonies.
Yeah. So again, if people out here who know someone who's been falsely accused, please show them support. Pick up a phone and say, "Hey, I'm here if you need me." Please send a text message if you can, because it's the little things that we take for granted. Our freedom, being able to get up and going to work, paying our bills. Can't you imagine being a father and you can't take care of your children because you don't have a job, because you don't have any money?
Yeah, never
The
ever
simple
talk.
things that we take for granted every day, you know? And so
Can be
if people
snatched.
want to
I
laugh
mean, it can be snatched away from us in a blink of an eye. People have no idea,
and
and then you just
snatched
wake up
away, because
and you're in jail, and now you're begging everybody outside to believe you, and nobody does. And
right,
now what?
right.
You never
Now
talk
what?
to law enforcement because some people think, oh, I'll tell them this and that, and once you tell them something, if it's not true, then they can get you for delaying obstruction. You just never ever talk to them. I don't care, innocent, guilty, or what.
No,
They never are going to help you. It doesn't work that way.
Well, they
All
got
they
Hey,
do
just
multiple.
is
say
I mean,
no
I
twist
heard a
it.
comments or
story.
plead the fifth. But plead the
Yeah.
fifth, no comment. Because even in my brother's case, and check this out, we still didn't get the toxicology report because she said she was drugged. Okay, show us the toxicology report. We didn't get any photos
Yeah.
because she said that she was beaten, choked, everything else. How come that we don't have any pictures of what happened? Because the discovery, I'm sorry, because what she said in the affidavit didn't even match the bruising in the discovery.
Yeah.
And you still gave him 15 felony charges? Did
Let's look at
anybody read?
let's look at that girl from that Cy Ray episode, dude. She was the one getting assaulted. She pulled out a knife and
Mm-hmm.
defended herself, and she doesn't even
Herself,
know if she
yeah.
hit that dude's penis with her
Private,
knife. But they
yeah.
tried to. Well, they did arrest her. She was in prison for like what, 15 years or 7 years or something
Yeah.
for murdering
Yeah.
somebody else because they had their penis chopped off. You know, like you can't
Yes.
trust
And
police at
and
all.
it wasn't even her.
They'll spin stuff to oblivion just to get what they want.
Yeah,
Yeah. And
it's crazy.
especially if you don't have, because I think in that girl's, I think she was an addict, right? So she had very little family support, no money, obviously.
And she was
And a lot of,
molested as a child.
yes, yes. And so a lot of times they take someone who's a little weak and someone who may not be able to speak for themselves, and they just pretty much prey on them, if that
I have a
makes any sense.
what case that YouTube or any of these true crime, all of us have looked at in the last year and a half, has law enforcement not done something that is egregious, not transparent, just not correct? It's every case. They do something screwed up. Every single case.
Yeah. It's just like I said, I've watched, I think now 5 lawyers that have reacted to the leaf blower and the grocery bag and the red Solo cups, and like all of them said that they've never ever seen some shit like this. I mean, let's think about this for a second. If there's blood in the snow, okay, and these idiots actually are presenting this as evidence, somebody actually, like, the one thing I would say that didn't exist is that fucking video of them with the leaf blower blowing the whole
Wow.
crime scene. Okay, because
Blowing
usually
it,
if
literally blowing it
And
away.
who
usually
blows
if the
snow
wind
out the driveway of the street?
usually if the wind's blowing, okay, they set up a tent to try to preserve any kind of fucking evidence they can. But yet they're blowing it in the wind. Now let's think about this. If they're blowing it in the wind, okay, say they were able to shut the lights out at that moment and turn on a luminol fucking light. How much blood do you think has scattered all across the yard, maybe on people's
Wow.
cars, fucking everywhere?
Wow.
Think about that.
Wow.
How contaminated would it be? The crime that
Oh my
And
God.
I
and
mean, the
and,
crime's
and you know
been
the
that
sad
big,
part
it's
is,
unusable at that point.
and
What's
and,
that
and the
part?
sad part is nobody didn't say, "What the hell are you doing?
Yeah,
You're blowing the evidence away."
Like I say, every
You
case
know,
has instances
and the
of
one dude goes up and sticks his finger in the
mind
blood like he's gonna taste it. He goes up and just sticks his finger right in the blood like he's gonna fucking
oh my
you know
God.
taste it and find out if it's blood or if it's freaking oil or something. Like I've never. Oh my God.
You can't make
Well, I
those.
say this. Well, I say this. A few years ago, I dated a Baltimore cop. Okay,
Mhm.
and they're not that bright.
I had
They're
a
not that bright.
kid that we
Every time
raised
he
our
opened
family
his mouth, he lost he lost the IQ point. You know,
that was shot in Baltimore
they're
in
not that bright.
1993, and they did not investigate "quote unquote" drug murders then.
Well, this is
And
near Boston.
it was in Baltimore.
Yeah, no,
I
I
know
was just
where
saying
he
I
was
heard
shot,
that Karen Reed's in
but
Boston.
to this day you can find no information.
Yeah, I wonder
No.
how they just make documents go away and shit. I always wondered that.
What's that?
Shredder?
How they just make documents and shit like, go away
Oh, they
whenever
just
they want.
delete it?
Yeah. Like whose fucking call is that to put, time stipulations on shit? It's
Yeah,
all
It's probably the
totally
government
illegal and should
like
never
filing
happen.
to Google and shit.
Yeah. I don't know. I just think, like I said, we have a big fucking problem in this country, and you know, I know everybody knows we have a problem, but nobody's. It's. I don't know why nothing has like been presented to fix it. We'll send trillions of dollars to fund fucking wars and other, countries that have nothing to do with ours instead of fixing our problems. Like you said earlier, we lead the country in like two categories, I believe, which is, and one of them is numbers of prisoners per capita. Like we have the
Yeah,
most
we
prisoners
number one
out
on
of
earth.
fucking anybody. We lock everybody up.
Yeah,
Well, it's because they turned it into a business much.
Right. It's a privatized
yeah, they've
business.
privatized it, so it's a profit motive. Put people
Correct.
in beds and feed them 3 times a day and
Big
treat them like shit.
business.
You get paid by the government.
Who wants to go down a little Twiz conspiracy real quick?
What do you got, Twizzy?
I think they lock people up in prison because they are mostly fighting age males, and then they say they're felons, so they can't have guns after.
Yeah, but that doesn't keep.
No,
Is that enough
no,
people though?
no.
It doesn't matter. One person in prison is one enemy they don't have to worry about.
No,
One enemy.
and I think another thing is too. It's free labor,
Well, yeah,
and as well as
not
free
free,
labor as
30
well.
cents an hour or whatever. I don't know how
Right,
they make.
right. So it's like slave labor that they do in prisons, like like Victoria's Secrets get their underwear made, by by prisoners. So
Oh
it was
shit.
very cheap labor. I think wasn't in California where Kamala Harris did let guys out of prisons where they were supposed to, so and so they can fight the fires,
Yep.
like the wildfires in California.
And a lot
So
of make like the license plates for cars and stuff.
right.
Cheap labor for the
Also
state.
they have the prisoners going out and picking the fruits and vegetables
Mhm.
as well. They got them working on farms.
And they take
So
them to
it's
clean up the roadways
yes, it's
all the
Here's the
time.
thing.
it's slave labor.
If a
Very
guy
cheap.
said that it's a 8-year sentence, give him if he wants to work, give him an incentive to reduce that and actually give him a fair proportion of what he earns. So when he gets out, maybe he's learned some skills and he might have a little money, not a lot, but enough to help him, and give him the incentive to work and help, but reduce his sentence.
Yeah. And like the story I told
And I don't
about.
mean slave labor. I mean, give the guy a fair amount of his per hour effort.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I said, they got me, man. And like I said, what they do is they scare you with the maximum. Okay. So, I was trying to follow everything correctly, right? I had my own legal firearms. I walked everywhere, open carry, because that's the state I live in. And one day, an officer's having a bad fucking day, that a part of my shirt's covering the handle. All of a sudden now it's considered concealed. All of a sudden that's a felony. Bang. Yeah. Now you're behind bars for a month while your daughter's mother is pregnant on the outside, and you have to figure all this shit out. So that's the fucking situation I was thrown into. Right then, right, you take the plea, you get barely fucking nothing, and a month after I got off of my fucking year probation, whatever bullshit they gave me, I went to visit my buddy, and I told you guys I've been in like the cemetery business. I was in the cemetery business before my daughter's mother passed away. So I was in my suit. I had a nice suit. I was in a full suit. I remember I had like a nice pink tie, and I went to go see my buddy who lives in like a bad area here, what's called Allentown, Pennsylvania. And I went to visit him, and we were going to hang out, play Madden, which is a video game, which is a football video game, and smoke a blunt. It was a 24 karat blunt wrap. The only 24 karat blunt wrap I ever smoked in my life was on this day. This is why I'll never forget this. As I'm driving home in rush hour, okay, at this point, I've walked to my car, got in my car, left the block, okay, I guess, they call it the block, and was on the main street about to get on the highway. All of a sudden, 6-7 cruisers come pulling up behind me, and there's a gun in my face because I had my window open, and they're yelling at me to get out of the car. I put my hands in the air. I put my, they arrest me and shit, and they're asking me if I know what hard is and if I know what soft is, no homo. And I'm like, what the fuck are you guys talking about? And at that point, I realized they had the wrong guy in some kind of like investigation. They're looking to see who's providing drugs somewhere, because 2 officers walked up that had no like uniforms on, and they had this like thing they pulled out of their shirt and they flipped it around, and it was a badge. And I'm like, what the fuck? And I sat there as a rip, and I was like, yeah, you guys can search my car. Search the whole fucking thing. So they thought the grocery bag that I brought inside the home and took outside the home was like,
like a kilo.
Yeah, but it was a fucking controller, a 24 karat blunt wrap where we smoked some weed, and I don't know, something else. And they found absolutely nothing and apologized and fucking left me there.
They profiled you because you were in a bad area and thought this might be the guy.
And I sat there like, what the fuck just happened? Nobody's going to believe me. Like this, what just happened? They can actually do this to me? Because again, I was young, so I didn't know, if they did this to me today, holy fuck, I'd get.
They had no probable cause to believe any crime had been committed other than they just.
No, I mean, I could still figure out what day that, if there was no fucking statue of whatever, what is it? Statute of limitation, right? If that didn't exist, I'd ask for all the fucking body cam footage of that situation, of that day and that incident, because, like I said, it still pisses me off to this day that they did that. Because I could have been shot in my fucking face if they thought I was reaching for a gun when I was dropping my THC cartridge down.
Shut your ass in a second.
Yes. And then what? And then they have to explain why they, and everybody just moves on that some innocent person was shot on some conspiracy, blah, 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 blah. Like, fuck, man. So it happens. It happened to me.
Every day.
And
one time I was walking home and I had a sweatshirt on, and the cops stopped me because I think fireworks went off, but they were looking for somebody that was like shooting a gun. And they stopped me on the side of the road. They had their hands on their guns, but they like made me lift my sweatshirt, and I was just walking on the sidewalk.
See, and they can't do that.
No,
like, they can't like just.
Had they tried that today, I would have some kind words for them.
Kind of evidence that you committed a crime. They can't just think, well, he looks like he might have.
Yeah, this was like 14 years ago. I was like 23 or something.
I mean, this man ran up to my car with his fucking gun drawn in my face, dude.
Oh, wow.
What?
I'm
God.
sorry.
Can I still request would they still have to make a report of that?
How long ago was it?
Absolutely. If 7 cars were behind you,
hold on.
There's gonna have like a statute of limitations on how long they have to keep body cams.
It'd be around like 2017, 18.
You're pushing it, but you might be able to try.
I can tell you a story about cameras and police. I got pulled. Situation. I was one of my good friends. He and his mom eat world record amounts of pain medicine, and they'd been in an argument. And we went somewhere. He got him a couple. Well, he had just got out on a 10-year habitual, and he was my friend. I grew up with him. So I said, "Give him to me, man. I'm not going." Well, I hit him, but they had no reason to pull us over. They can think because he was formerly in this kind of lifestyle that he was continuing, but that ain't probable cause.
No.
So they had just got cameras in our town. The federal government had some kind of grant, small police force, blah, blah, blah. Well, I got out and they cuffed me, and I literally got in front of the cop car and said, I have not consented to one search whatsoever. They can search if they have a search warrant, blah, blah, blah. Well, we get to court. They ended up finding the 2 things. We get to court, and my first cousin, he argued that they basically destroyed that tape because it busted everything they said. So my lawyer argued the best case evidence rule, state so-and-so versus federal government 19 whatever. And the judge came out after. He said, the police department needs to make an immediate policy that these body cams on these officers are not to be destroyed at their whim. It is best case evidence for the prosecution and/or the defense, and should not be destroyed until charges. All the appeals and the entire process has gone through the system, and you can't just decide you want to just holler your camera was broke here because it doesn't fit your scenario. And he ringed the police department about it. They were mad as hell, but you know, it happens every day though. How many times? Oh, my camera wasn't working. Bullshit.
Yeah, bullshit. Just like they didn't have any body cam footage when they fucking went to take Brian down. My ass. What if some crazy shit happened in that house?
Possible?
It's not.
How is that possible?
It ain't. They just think it don't benefit them. They just holler it didn't work, broke, blah blah blah.
And then their bullshit excuse. Oh, they don't have body cams at PA. Oh, fucking K. My
That's
ass.
a
They
lie.
don't. What?
That's a lie. Well, Willie, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna let you go because it's 9:30 and I have
I
an
appreciate you
hour of
coming up, by the
studying
way,
to
again.
do. But thank you for allowing for me to tell my story, my brother's story. But to answer your question, is the American justice system is broken? The answer is yes. Do we, and how do we fix it? There's no one answer.
Revolution.
Multiple answers. Okay.
Revolution,
no revolution. One of the first
Revolution.
because I see Jody left a comment and how she was pulled over by police. The first thing that we have to do is know our rights. Know your rights. That's one.
Keep your mouth shut.
Two, don't be, if there's some kind of investigation, just don't volunteer to walk into a police department without a lawyer. Do not be talking to the police with no representation, and don't be giving out any information without a warrant. Okay. And now, if we see people who's been falsely accused, it is very important for us to support those people in any way, shape that we can. Also, it is important for us to vote because a lot of these positions, because I believe prosecutors is a voted position. Am I right or wrong?
Absolutely. DAs
Some of them are. I don't know about all of them, but
DAs are vote the right people. Right. Take your time and do your research on these people. Take the time to make sure that you're voting people in that will serve the community and serve the public. Yeah. And we need to start amending laws and passing laws. We need to start talking to and having conversations with our politicians that we vote into office. Because, mind you, look, I'm a short jump away from Capitol Hill. Okay, those guys in Capitol Hill is not here for us.
Nope.
All they're down there to do is collect money.
Yeah, not only for them
and everything else and everything else in between.
Lots of money.
That's why they give killers like a couple $1 million bail and shit, and some people bail out because it's all about the money.
And speaking of $1 million, how come the Idaho governor gave the university $1 million after the murders? For what reason?
My understanding is that was for a trial like that, and the money you spend, the court system is way beyond what they planned for. So
the money went to the school.
No, this was for the
school. The money went to the school.
This was to rehabilitate the university, or that was for the.
Yeah, when it comes to the school, universities have.
But how come? Because there were several other unconfirmed incidents that happened. I think there've been other 6 unconfirmed incidents that happened since November 13th of 22. Am I right or wrong?
Yeah, what about
where these kids were just found in a river and in a shallow river for no apparent reason.
That was before.
You know what I mean?
I know who you're talking about. That was before.
I thought it was about 6 incidents after November. But with that being said, the school don't need that money. How come they was given $1 million, which makes no sense to me? So again, we almost have to.
What pisses me off the most about the school is they, in my opinion, promised, or however they did it, the families a memorial garden, and from what I heard, they're gonna build apartments on that fucking land now.
Oh, come on now.
Are you
Follow the
serious?
money trail.
Yes.
Hey,
Follow the money.
look at Google Maps. I'll pull it up.
Follow the
right.
money because I don't. It's something very suspicious and fishy about this case.
Yeah, they spent
Was
about what somebody did
But,
some research on how much they actually spent on
Yeah.
the Idaho 4 because the
College I
Memorial
went to.
Garden is not for the Idaho 4, it's for all the victims.
Has the most donations.
Not an
for
Idaho 4 thing.
graduates of anybody in the nation a few years ago.
she said not the map. Yeah, I'm dead. That was funny.
Anyway, I'm gonna jump.
I'm sorry, I didn't.
Thank you so much for having
yeah. Thanks for coming up. And like I said, I'm
Thank
sorry you had to
Hey.
go through
Thank
that
you,
shit.
Golf.
Nobody deserves
I'll
to
be
go through
watching
something
you.
like that.
Nicole,
I hope you have a good night.
Yes,
Thank you.
you're awesome. Come around more. Golf, I miss you already.
I sure will.
News
Thank-
story breaking.
See you, golf. See you, golf.
They removed Bailey's
both
apartment
sound alike.
complex from Google Maps. It doesn't show it anymore.
Oh wow.
I wonder if I still have it in my pictures. I doubt it, but I'll look.
And one more thing, guys, make sure that we need to start talking to our politicians about this as well. Like they need to be aware of what's going on. Like we need to speak up more. And this is why I love your platform, Willie. Like this need to be out here. A lot more people need to hear our stories. This is not just my story. It's your stories, Twiz's story, it's the other gentleman's story. You know, because all of us
I
been
swear to
pulled over
fucking
by
God,
the
if
police by no
Brian
reason.
gets off, and Brian, I swear to fucking God, if Brian gets off and he gets out, Brian will be up here. I guarantee you. Guarantee you.
Hey, if Brian gets out, we're gonna go live from Wawa Park. I'm gonna get
I will be there.
Elon Musk
I will be there.
internet. We're going live. I'm getting Elon Musk internet. We're going live.
The Elon Musk internet. And I will be there. I will be there. So you guys, please keep up the good work. I am so proud
everybody
of you.
clap for
You guys gave
Heather.
inspirations.
I'm working on getting a few women on here that knew him, throughout his whole life up until, he went out that way. So, the whole incel shit will really be squashed then. So everybody can piss off.
Right. And I would love to hear more people's stories about how the system treats them as well, because more and more people need to hear other stories, because this is not isolated at all, because I'm telling you, if BK came from a wealthy family, if BK dad wasn't a janitor and his mother was a teacher, this would not have happened. Somebody tipped the FBI or the police off of BK. He was a perfect simp that they thought. They didn't think that he was going to fight back the way he's doing.
And that and would go along with their fucking little charade.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
I'm not going for it. And I'm from the beginning. I'm like, come on, guys, really. Again, I used to live in the hood. I've seen what, bad drug deals and stuff, because I personally know people who got robbed and stabbed and killed in a bad drug bust. I've known these people, you know.
That's what I mean. Like, out of everybody that knew Brian, everybody that, all his friends and everybody that went to school with him and shit. Again, nobody, watches these hearings or looks at these documents or nothing. So the only thing that they see is what's on the news. Everybody thinks like everybody sees what we see and shit and like, knows the information. No, they don't know nothing except what the news puts out. And most of the time the news puts out bullshit. So that's why I'm trying to get the most people I can on here to speak out that knew him.
About 90% of it is bullshit.
That's 95. What I mean. In my opinion, the only reason I decided to go live and do this, and that's why my first live was having a conversation with somebody that actually fucking knew Brian, and not just them saying, "Oh, he's an incel," or he was a cannibal, or he was this, or he was that. Fuck that.
Show my screen.
Hold on. Is this the apartments?
Yeah, 1122 King Road, Moscow, Idaho, 83843. Bailey apartment complex.
Look at that. There's your fucking
Wow.
memorial garden.
They did this a few months ago, and now it's not showing up on Google Maps. So what does that tell you?
Take a screenshot of this, ladies and gentlemen. There's your fucking memorial garden.
Well, have anybody heard that the original house used to belong to the president of
Yeah, Green
I
Idaho?
Green grew up in that house.
Yeah.
Yeah. Makes no sense,
Unbelievable.
doesn't it? It makes no sense.
And oh my God! Imagine that
story.
being your child, and they promised you a fucking memorial garden. I mean, you didn't want that to be knocked down in the first place because everybody was telling you how it's gonna, affect the fucking trial. And to make it even fucking worse, to throw salt on that wound, they're building an apartment complex to make more money than they were on the. Yo, I fucking
You know what?
can't.
And I think what it is too that they're allowed to do this too, because I wish the parents, besides the Consalves family, would speak up more to say, "Look, we deserve justice," and they're not saying anything. You know what I mean? And the problem is, the majority of the public do not read. They don't take the time to read the PCA, and it only took 5 minutes to read the PCA.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like the Goncalves family. Like, I don't know. I've never lost a child, so I can't speak on how I would act if I was a Goncalves family. Okay. So, but again, if there was this much out there, okay, and I had this many, because they have a million times more people follow them than, like myself or any, the average person, because they have, the social media. And like you said, in my opinion, instead of just sitting there and wanting it to be Brian and wanting to, just needing somebody, if they were to look at the bigger picture and this whole, because it seems like all the people that are on their page are all like, Brian did it 100%. I think if they would start, like you said, blaming it the opposite way of, what the fuck's actually going on, then those people would start agreeing with them, and then they would have more voices to stand up. But until that happens, they're going to be irritated, and I feel so bad because again, they don't deserve this shit. But I don't think they're handling it in the way that I would. That's all I'm saying. I don't fight them, so.
I think also a lot of people have their own prejudice and biases as well, because if Dylan and Bethany was two guys, okay.
Don't even start with that.
All right. If Dylan and Bethany were black and male, they wouldn't be walking free.
Well, just male in general.
Oh,
male in general.
It'd be almost the shit they'd have to go through.
I just don't understand, because everybody's looking everywhere else. Go back to the basics. This is how you do a basic investigation. Go back to the crime scene, which they can't no longer do, and go back and reinvestigate those two girls, because I guarantee you their story will change.
But do any of them have family that are like? Has anybody looked into that? Like, does Dylan have family that's law enforcement or something? Like, what's up? Because like you said,
I haven't heard anything. Yeah. Don't think so, but I don't know that for 100%.
Yeah, I mean, I've been saying it. I mean, I used to have to I would say that, and you don't understand. When I would say, like you just said, if they were male, okay, they'd be arrested. Yes. Nobody in chat, came at you or nothing. Before fucking, I don't know how many months ago, when I said that, you don't understand the fucking volcano that erupted in the channels I was in. Okay, because I was saying it all the time. If Dylan and Bethany were male, they'd be arrested. All of a sudden, they're all fuck. You're sexist. You're this. No, the fuck, I'm not. It's just a fact. If they were dudes, come on.
I'm sorry. Lisa Stallmaker says that Dylan's mother worked at the university. Lisa says that Dylan's mother and Dylan's uncle is a D. What?
I never heard that. I don't doubt it at all. But that's
what. No
Dylan's
way.
Uncle, no.
And both of her grandparents were government workers. What?
Oh boy.
Look at what was war.
Wow. And Dylan's dad was a prosecutor.
Was war? Look at their.
I had an aunt that worked for the FBI her entire life.
Wow.
Yeah, she would come home for Christmas and tell us these stories that were unbelievably. But she was in forensics, and then when she retired, she was head of bank robbery computer files division.
Her stepmother is a lawyer. Ah, what?
Oh yeah, and I heard somebody say something about like one of the girls or both the girls said that they're not stepping foot back in Idaho, which
Well, that's a
found
lie.
I
interesting.
can't
That's a lie
believe
because they've been back.
If the threat's gone, what's the problem?
Right.
I can't believe how they were just basically put in a timeout space and basically out of touch from knowing anything.
They were never treated as suspects ever. That's fucking
Well, maybe
insanity.
that night, because apparently they were in
Exactly.
the
Have you seen
police
any
station until
statements
late
they
that night.
I don't give a
I
fuck if
tell
they're
you
so
this.
what.
I tell you this. If I was living with
So
my
is everybody else that
female
question.
friends, if I was living with my friends and I heard something, all right, and I don't get up and check on them, what kind of human being are you? If you and you're gonna tell
Yeah.
me that you didn't call the police until 8 hours later, no one find that suspicious? That you were the last people to see your friends, your
And you looked
roommates,
out your
and
door
that
and seen a man with bushy
there,
eyebrows.
there has to be some kind of thing going on. Okay, it makes no sense that you sit in your room and even if you heard whimpering, you didn't get your ass up and walk
But
10
hold on a
And
feet
we had no
but
to
hold on a
statement.
check
second. When
on them
she
and
woke
knock
up,
on the door.
but hold on a
Come on
second.
now.
When she
Now,
woke
she
up,
wasn't in the house.
when she woke
Mhm.
up, okay,
Well, that's what it says in the
Brian.
PCA.
Well, if they're saying, what they're saying, if she woke up at fucking 4 o'clock, okay, Brian's not in the house at that
Mhm.
point, right? So that means that the noises she's
Mhm.
hearing at that point are normal, correct?
Normal to whom?
Yes or no? I'm asking you.
No, it's not
When she,
normal to be hearing anything at 4 in the
what?
morning. That's not
You
normal.
don't hear
Well,
whimpering
why
in your
not?
house. What do you do?
Why not? If she wakes up at 4 and she hears people, if Xana's ordering food, okay, at fucking 4 something, why isn't it normal? To me, it's normal. So my question is, hold on a second. My question is, if she wakes up, okay, and she's hearing fucking Xana walking back, getting plates out, whatever, eating, she hears the dog upstairs or whatever, which is normal. At what point does it go from normal noise to fucking chaos?
Yeah.
Right.
And you
When do you go
don't
into the
distinct
frozen
those
shop?
two?
And mind
You
you, the
mistake those two
neighbor
for the same thing?
ring
Get the fuck
camera
out of
picked
here.
up on the mind you, the ring camera from the neighbor's house
Exactly.
picked up on some noise. But yet
Exactly.
you didn't hear anything. And how did she say that with a straight face to the detective? You're gonna
I
tell me
haven't heard
now I
statement.
know
They basically,
now I know that she has all these connections to law enforcement at the University of Idaho. You're going to tell me that Payne superiors that didn't get some kind of phone call and to tell them to look the
we
other
had
way?
any statement from her. Anything.
Makes sense what I'm saying? Because mind you, before they caught Kohlberger, if you go back, if you watch Law Nation, if you go back and watch Nancy Disgrace, if you go back and watch Babylon Banfields, right? They all were starting to point fingers over at Sigma Chi. Am I lying? And then all of a sudden, once Brian Kohlberger was caught, then everybody narrative changed. Well, y'all
They
was
were out of the news in the picture.
come on
It happened.
now. I'm
It was
telling you,
nothing against
somebody
her.
got a phone call. Somebody got a phone
But how
call.
does Brian fit the description if they don't even have okay, how can any like the people who say, oh well, Brian has bushy eyebrows, great. If everybody read the PCA, they not one time say the race of the person with the bushy eyebrows. So how does Brian
Not
fit the
at
fucking description?
all.
So how does Brian fit
Not
the
at all.
description?
And why would somebody in a white car drive up to the house wearing all black? Clad in black. That doesn't make
How
any
many
sense
thousand
because
white?
most of the time, if you're going to do anything, if I'm going to do something, I'm not going to park in front of the house. I'm going to park down a block or two. And mind you, there was police already on the block. They were what? Alcohol enforcers. They was already on the block. It was a Saturday night.
There was parties all over the place. There was house parties over it. There was kids walking around drunk.
Yeah,
So
that
this
was like
complete
one night
stranger that's 6'4" with big broad shoulders and bushy eyebrows just gonna walk in a house with 6 people and one knife.
Who, Brian? He's
But
like
there could have
6'2".
been like 300 people. How do you know how
dumb
many people are
we as
sleeping
a
there?
Ethan was 6'4".
huh?
I said Ethan was 6'4". Brian's like 6'2".
He's like 6'2" or 6'3", but he's
He's
big.
like
The
6'2".
He's a
thing
big
is,
dude.
how dumb are we as a society that we believe one person did it? How dumb
Your name's
are
Nicole, right?
we? Yes.
Have you heard my favorite saying for these people?
No, what is it?
Clown potatoes.
Oh my goodness.
Most people are clown potatoes.
I
And
have
they get
never
to
heard
vote.
anything like that. Clown potatoes indeed.
That's what I mean. Like, you don't understand. You couldn't go
I
up in any kind of
concur.
panel like this and talk anywhere. I mean, they'd fucking rip you
Not
apart.
at all.
You know,
You know
before. But
what?
now,
Hey, come on with it. Because after
that's
I'm
what I'm
telling
saying.
so many people came at me and I'm like, look, and I'm just dropping knowledge. I'm like, y'all can't come at me with this bullshit.
Oh my God. You
You
don't
can
know how
try
many people
all
I've
day.
made $10,000-$20,000 bets with on here that, you know, when this fucking goes down and everything gets dropped, I'm coming to fucking collect. Especially you over there at Titanium Built. Have my $2 fucking bills ready. 20 G's.
Oh
baby.
shit! Oh shit!
Oh, she
Hey.
knows. She knows. It's she knows. We got a little thing going on. 20K in $2 bills. If he walks,
Come on.
I get it. If not, she got it.
$2 bills.
That's right. $2 bills.
Why two? Why $2 bills?
I know she's sweating. I don't know. She said it, so I was like, "Fuck it, $2. Let's do it. $2 bills." And I know she's sweating right now. She don't want to admit it, but she's sweating over there.
Was it
Mm,
recorded? Because you might be able to make that legally binding.
yes.
Dude, listen. There's so many chats where I went in, and everybody was like, "All right." So I'm fucking collecting. I just don't see
Wow.
it. If this goes to trial, it's going to be a fucking absolute circus, just like
If
the
it
Karen Reed
does,
case.
I hope and pray we have a procedure. It's transparent and it's done correctly. Either way, that's all I want.
Yeah,
And
but I mean, like I said, I think that, you know, instead of looking at funding wars and all kinds of other stupid shit that we invest our money into, we should just start investing our money into fixing like the issue we have here with our justice system, with our, you know, homeless veterans, with our homeless Americans, period, and then fucking worry about everybody else. But again, you know, nothing I say
Talking about
matters.
law enforcement, think about the honest people that are still in law enforcement that have to navigate through the not honest and the corruption. That's not easy.
But that's what's sad.
Are they really honest if they're not coming out and telling people though?
Yeah, but listen, dude. If you're in a group of 6 cops, right, and 5 of those, and one of those cops, you know, are corrupt, and they corrupt the other 4, and you don't want to fucking, you know, they'll make your life hell. I'm assuming, okay,
Yes,
if you're on the force.
They will.
So one can corrupt a whole bunch, and that's why I think it's fucked up, because like you know. I see it. I can see it happening. I can see like somebody, you know, having authority over another one that tells them to shut up about this, and then all of a sudden there's 4 or 5 people shutting up, and now, you know, they're stuck to a story. That's what I think happened here in the Karen Reed case. Like they're all just looking stupid as fuck, and
more powerful corruptors were able to influence everybody else to go. They had no choice.
Yeah, well, but then they influence.
You go against them. Next thing you know, they don't have your back.
But then they influence. Yeah, but then they influence the paramedics. But then they influence the fucking paramedics. Then they influence the fucking firefighters to go up there and say, you know, different shit. And that's what, you know, pisses me off, dude. Is like just one can corrupt a whole fucking bunch of first responders. It's amazing. Absolutely amazing. I mean, and like I said, they didn't wear any gloves in Idaho. I mean, there's pictures of them without gloves on going in and out of the home in Idaho, correct?
Yes.
That is correct.
And
Well,
throwing
question,
mattresses
though.
in the back of trucks.
Now,
Yep.
I've read the PCA. The PCA said Payne said that he saw the chief. He saw the chief later later when? Like the same day, the next day? When did he actually see the sheep?
Oh,
Yeah,
I mean,
Because
it,
it doesn't.
it,
You ready
it
for
could
a
just be later
bombshell?
on.
You ready for a bombshell?
Bring it on.
Mhm.
Am I
All right,
gone,
last
Victoria?
night, Thought Right podcast, they were reading, I think it's the PA arrest warrant. Heather Fitzgerald will
Victoria,
correct
am I
me in the
gone?
chat. Watch for it. But they said they needed to arrest him and investigate to find a sheath. Find a sheath.
Wait a minute, what?
In
Say
one
that
of the
again?
warrants, they are looking to find a sheath that matches the arrest or the murder weapon.
What the fuck?
That
Washington
makes no
PCA is what
sense.
Julie Dunn said. It's in one of them.
It was
They
the
said they
Washington
were
Um,
going to
DC.
go look at his apartment to find a sheath.
Oh,
What the fuck?
what date was this
Yeah,
PCA?
what is
Shit.
I'm getting like 14 different documents. So either I'm wrong or we're all wrong. I don't know, but they said it on Thought Right podcast last night. If you don't follow Thought Right
Mm,
podcast, follow them now. Subscribe. Brendan,
where's hard for me to
Malia,
listen?
gangsters.
What are
Boom,
you getting? What are you getting? Fucking paid or something?
dude. I get paid
Right.
everywhere I go. Follow
Fucking
Wait a
guy.
Dinky,
minute, but
Andrea Burkhart.
because I don't believe that sheath belongs to him. Because mind you, they said that they was going to go and see if he purchased any knives. You remember? They still
they
didn't.
basically
Once,
insinuated that they had evidence at one time.
but that was a lie.
You remember that? Which is
Also, remember when Ann Taylor said there's nothing to connect my client to the murder scene. There's no blood. There's no blood in his house, his home, his car.
There's no
And
shit. There's
everybody
nothing.
was like said, well, there's receipts of him buying some Dickies at Walmart. So every time Ann Taylor has a win, miraculously, there's some kind of rumor that
some kind of
spoils
counter
it.
or something.
Did you find it to us?
Oh, I'm not looking for it. Should I look for it?
Yeah, dude.
Man, I
Please.
got so much work.
This guy.
Yeah, it makes sense what I'm saying, right? Every time, like there's always something. There's a new rumor, and this is why. And like, look, we need to have this stuff public because every time we look up, there's a different rumor, and you guys are not stopping changing the narrative and saying, "Hey, that's not true." Well, that's not true. And I think once Bill Thompson said that he was not stalking the victims, I think it was really starting to change the public minds because that was their main motive, was it not?
Yes,
It was
that's
their
why they said it
main
was. It was
motive.
fucking targeted.
So if it was a target attack, but yet they wasn't stalked, then what else do you have?
Nothing. They said
And if
it's a
they
common
had
public.
the slam dunk smoking gun evidence, I feel certain that they would somehow it would get leaked in some way that it couldn't be attached to him. I believe that with everything.
At least
in it.
Ann would fucking know. For God's sakes. I mean, if Ann doesn't know, we're never. We're
I
not
mean,
going
you
to know
think they
until
would
Ann
keep
knows.
it quiet or they would leak it?
I do have a question. When was Bill Thompson supposed to retire? This year or next year?
I think it was like the start of 2023,
Oh no, he's
So
been
he's
going
just
too long.
holding
or
on
maybe
to
it was
dear
the end of
life.
2023. I don't
Yeah,
remember.
and he's choosing this to go out on. What a dumbass.
Because I'm thinking he may retire, then maybe they will let him out after that once they get a new prosecutor. I think they need to get rid of the prosecutor and they need to get rid of Judge. Because Judge is biased.
Yeah,
Well,
but that
sure
ain't.
I mean,
is.
Judge just doesn't know what the fuck's going on. There's no way. Like, I mean, I couldn't imagine. I just can't imagine. I know. People don't like the judge in the Karen Reed case, but it seems like she can kind of like handle the courtroom. I just like imagine taking her out and inserting Judge. How the fuck it'd be going on in that courtroom right now? Oh my god. Yeah. So Judge doesn't know. I mean, he's literally asking like them for help. He's like, what do you guys think we should do? What do you guys,
Well,
just
we can do this for that, but I think what do you guys?
sitting back in his fucking chair smirking the whole time. Like, I don't know what he's doing. Like, we can't see him.
Yeah,
Like,
that was
hello?
very irritating to watch. Like Like he was irritated at her, and that smirk was just very condescending.
Yeah.
That's how I took it.
And then
You
who the
know?
fuck is that woman to shush a fucking another attorney? I don't give a shit if you work in the same office with her or not. You lean over and you tell her to shush because she's reading off the evidence that you jackasses haven't turned over to her yet. Fuck you. You
Well,
shush
yeah,
her.
because she mentions the FBI grand jury.
Yeah.
What FBI grand jury? What? There's
Man,
a
get the
grand
fuck
jury
outta
that
here.
the FBI
Shush.
conducted.
Shush.
Why?
I got my
How?
screen sharing.
Could you repeat that?
So this is why they don't want the public in on these hearings, because they don't want the public to know that the FBI was involved more than what they're saying that they are. Right?
What were you saying about the FBI and a grand jury? Could you repeat that?
Well, Ann Taylor mentioned about the FBI. I guess they want some records from the FBI grand jury, and that's when is she an assistant to Bill Thompson shushed
Yeah.
Ann Taylor because she mentioned the words FBI and grand jury.
Well,
If I would have
she
No
heard
one
that in
find
court,
that
dude, I might have
suspicious?
smacked that bitch. You don't talk to my queen like that.
Well,
Right.
Ann even looked over. I mean, I know what the fucking chick said it because Ann even looked over and made a reaction towards it, but
Mhm.
she didn't.
She
Didn't.
did. She did.
I wish she was like, "Yo, shut up."
Well, you can't do that, Willie.
Why not? What's the
You're in
judge
front
gonna
of the
do?
judge.
All right, he's gonna do the same shit he did when Ann,
Put her in
after
contempt of
after the
court, like
prosecution
Donald
berated
Trump.
Ann. After prosecution berated Ann stands up and says, "Well, hold on a second. I think if they're gonna say something about me, I can say something about them." And the judge is like, "No, no, no. Let's end it here. You can't say nothing." So, in my opinion, the judge is very biased, but most importantly, he
Very,
can't handle the courtroom.
very, very.
Willie, share
So,
my screen.
what do you got?
Well, that's
Oh,
why
she
we
was
have
at
the
the
pills.
Oh, that's right. On the
Here
drive
we go.
time. Yes, Heather, you're right.
Let's see. What is
Can you
this
zoom on that
from
thing?
exactly? Yeah, I can. I'm just trying to. It's from Blaker's statement or something. I'm trying to. I don't know when this was filed,
Mm-hmm.
but it says, to date, we have not recovered the weapon used in the homicides, which would indicate that he took it with him. How do you know it was he, though, you dick? Anyways, he took it with him from the scene. Based on my training, that weapon will likely contain trace evidence on it, such as blood or skin or hair from the crime scene. One likely location for the weapon or any sheath for the weapon would be his residence.
Whoa.
They say the weapon.
Wow.
That's misleading because they don't know that there was a weapon. They should say a weapon that was possibly used. You know what I mean?
They shouldn't assume a lot of things in here, but
What
right up
date is
here
on
it
that?
says
Date is
his.
that?
I'll find it, but right here it has his address.
Oh my God.
Yeah, this is
Whoa, based on
obviously
my
filed
training.
after they found the sheath at the scene of the crime, right?
Yeah, right.
If you go back to the start of it, it doesn't have a date. It surely does.
Well, I just have to find it. It's up here a bit.
I gotta see
Annie.
if it's in the.
So they,
Wow.
what the fuck? Why would they say that they need to go find a sheath to the weapon if they fucking have the sheath to the weapon?
It should be.
Why do you think Ann Taylor's
Wow.
saying it was placed there?
Yeah,
Bro,
just like what I'm saying. That was a plant. That chief was put there. And look, I used to be a cable tech where I used to have to wear a tool belt, and I used to have a
means
sheath for
two
my
people, Miss Taylor.
shears.
All right, hold on, right there a little bit.
And well, I believe there's more than one weapon because there was more than one people. It wasn't one person.
No, I think
It
this
was
is something
multiple
else.
people.
Because this is Don
December 9th,
Daniels.
29th.
Yeah, this is Don Daniels. It's got to be something else.
It says December 29th, something.
Yeah, but it's a different.
It's
It's a different thing. It's not the same thing.
No, it's a different document.
This is
Hungry
Dustin
as shit,
Blaker's.
Oh, so it's a different case.
Yeah.
Oh. Mm.
So more than one weapon, right, means more than one person. Exactly. So what the fuck?
Right, because the blood, the victim's blood wasn't mixed with each other's. You know, it wasn't
But
mixed
how
with
do
each
we
other.
know
And
that?
my thing is, how would, huh?
How do we know that?
We
It's
don't.
still signed on the
Mm,
29th.
we don't.
This is wild, dude.
Bro.
This is Dustin Blaker's signature. It was signed, subscribed, and sworn to me on the 29th. Oh shit, these guys are so fucked, dude.
I'm telling you, there's no fucking way this can go to trial.
No,
There's
it
no
won't.
way.
And that's the same thing what happened in my brother's case. It took 2 years before that they dropped the case, even though that they had significant evidence to show that my brother was innocent. So I believe that this case will be dropped.
Yeah, that's
But
why they're holding everything
Bill
back, because
Thompson's
most of their evidence is going
right.
to show he's not guilty.
It's right. It's all shit. It's all shit, and he knows that it's shit. And then they're gonna and I won't be surprised if they also drop the case based on his civil rights violations as well. It makes no sense.
I'm still
How?
confused how the fuck the death penalty is still on the table.
Oh well, I mean, I know why.
Because it's a bargaining chip. Bill Thompson's gonna wait till he can try and get
It's
Ryan to
not,
agree to
dude.
something.
I'm just saying,
Right.
dude. You wait.
Watch this turn into like a
wait certain amount of
jaywalking
time,
charge,
that shit goes away, bro.
or they'll say that he was trespassing at Wawa White Park, but that's in Washington, so you can't even do that, you little bitch ass Bill Thompson.
I can't do that, bro.
No.
This is gonna be
Problem
bad.
is they do whatever they want to, and
I think what they're gonna do is I think they're gonna realize that the investigation that they have done thus far has been illegal in so many ways, whether it's the IGG, whether it's them,
Potatoes.
I guess when the FBI followed him twice in Indiana.
how do they get from point A to point B, and how did that take them to C? There's something.
There's still people out there that think that was planned.
Oh, it was planned.
Look, when this first happened, right? I'm sitting in Phoenix, Arizona. I lived in Poland before. I was super curious of what was happening up in here with kids getting murdered and shit, right? So I read every article I could. I've seen several articles saying the FBI commanded the traffic stops in Indiana, and then a couple days later they said, nope, that wasn't us. Bullshit. Twist, don't forget.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I already knew when they pulled him over twice, I already knew that he was being tailed. And that's what I understand when people were saying, oh, he's so weird. He was separating his trash with gloves.
Yes.
And I'm like, so you
6 weeks later across the country, who gives a fuck?
I've
I'm
seen
like,
people
wait a minute.
recycled, separated shit.
Hold on a
like
second.
that.
Well, remember, his parents live in PCP, which is a gated fucking community and a very, very strict HOA. Okay. And the reason I know that is because my buddy lives in that fucking neighborhood. All right. So putting your trash in your neighbor's bin because theirs isn't full and not putting it next to yours so you don't get in trouble because the trash people will fucking report you. Yeah, I'd probably do it too. So it's not that weird. Everybody's like, oh, he's putting the trash in his. Relax there, Slim.
Yeah, I had one lady was like, that's a red flag. I'm like, how is that? Well, he's doing it at night. So I'm like, show me where. I said, show me where it's illegal to separate your trash at night. Show me.
Every
where
Wednesday night, I
it's
might be
illegal.
putting out trash at 1 o'clock in the morning because they pick it up.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Again, it's
we already know
narrative
he's a
to make
night
like
owl.
he's this weirdo.
But that's me. I looked at it as, okay, so everybody looked at it as, oh, he's up at a weird hour doing shit with his trash. I looked at it as, okay, well, if he's up at this time, at a weird time, then it makes sense that he'd be up driving around at fucking 3, 4 in the morning, like he said he was out in
Maybe
fucking
he's
Idaho.
messing with the trash because they're going to pick it up the next morning. That's a scheduled pickup.
Yeah. Like
And
they're not
maybe
going to
he
take his shit when they were in Idaho. Let's not take his. Let's not
plastic
watch him.
glass. Who knows?
Yeah, but why aren't they bringing him in for fucking questioning and then watching him go home to his apartment, and then when he throws out his trash or when he goes to a fucking vegan restaurant or whatever the hell Brian Koberger does in his life, and then get his DNA instead of you tail him across the whole country. The reason they did that is because they didn't have enough. So that's why they had to tail his ass across the country and wait until.
Exactly. Excellent point. Excellent point. And
Bullshit.
and this is what I was saying. Somebody, I'm like, why would he drive through 8 states just to throw evidence in his parents' trash?
In the murder vehicle, in the vehicle the
I'm
whole
like,
fucking
how
country's looking
dumb
for.
are you? Who would
Oh
drive
my
through
God.
8 states?
Brian
You
Koberger.
drove through 8 states,
And then get pulled
and you're
over
going to
twice.
drop off the evidence right at your parents' house? Oh my God.
And then you get pulled
Yeah,
over
a
twice.
while ago,
What did you call
And
them?
you just
Clown
continue with your
potatoes? What you call
holiday.
them?
that document a while ago said they thought the weapon might be in his apartment. Who the hell would hide a weapon in their own apartment if they were going to try to get rid of it? That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life.
He didn't.
How come
He
nobody?
didn't book it. He didn't book it to the border. He didn't book fucking plane tickets to an unextraditable state. None of that shit. Country. He went home and he celebrated fucking Thanksgiving or whatever the hell he did, or Christmas, and fucking they got him a couple days later, and he was doing nothing out of
Well,
the ordinary except throwing his trash away. Really? Like you
You
don't
guys
have him
want to
on
hear the
tape?
craziest thing now?
It's crazy.
Let's take Twiz's theory
Why are you talking
that
third person?
because it's Twiz's theory. Anyways, let's take Twiz's theory. Brian Koberger went to Wawawai Park that night. He never went to Idaho. December 7th, the Idaho Moscow PD ISP said we're looking for a white Hyundai Elantra seen in the neighborhood of the crime. It's a 2011 to 2013, not even his year of car. Why would he even think to even tell them that his car existed if he wasn't even in Idaho that night? He had no idea he was even being investigated.
Nope. And I think that if they would have just been like, "Hey, can we check your phone?" He would have been like, "Yeah," and they would have been like, "All right, you're clear." But I just don't. I don't know why. Like, what the fuck's so hard about having him, like, getting him in for questioning? You don't have a shit ton of anyway, so just and you're already signed up for some fucking program with your, with the police and shit like that. So I'm sure, and you have body cam footage of him being respectful to an officer when he got pulled over in the area. What's the problem? Calling him for questioning. He might fucking confess. But instead, you allow him to teach a class full of students. Yo, if I had a kid that was taught by Brian Koberger as a TA after, they knew that Brian was a suspect, every day I'd be fucking on their front doorstep, pissed off that my kid was in, danger because of their incompetence.
Sat in the classroom with a suspected 4 unaliving people in a brutal way, and you let him teach class with.
Yep. Like he's not going to do it. And then you let him drive across the country with his dad, who, how the hell he's not going to stab his dad? And then the cop walks up. And how does a cop know that the dad's not going to lunge out? And Brian didn't talk to his dad about what he did, and Brian's dad do something. I mean, the cop walked right up to the fucking window.
I think they pulled him to see if he would freak out and try to bolt.
You think so? Yeah, I think so too. And I think once he was just sitting there, chilling. But it's still weird, man. Like, they let him do so much stuff that they wouldn't allow anybody if they thought. I mean, come on, man. That makes no sense.
All the analysis of he was acting this way because his shoulders were turning. He was very. That's a bunch of horse shit. This tells he was very blah blah blah. And people have analyzed so much shit and made up stuff about. All those things. Every time they had anything on him,
I actually think you can look at a lot of what they say that he did through the lens of him actually trying to follow the rules and the law and actually learning what the law is so he doesn't break it.
Yeah.
Rollo
I thought
said
it
they
was like the
interviewed
most
him.
courteous as you could be.
Rollo said they interviewed him before he went to Pennsylvania. They interviewed him twice. Where?
Without any cameras.
Oh, yeah, imagine fucking that. Okay, so then don't count.
It basically should be
So this is one of the biggest cases
officers
in Idaho history, and they interview a suspect without a camera.
And then they arrest the suspect without a camera.
How dumb are they?
Why do we not have a law anything like that should be?
They're pretty dumb. Nicole, I don't know if you've heard this. I call them the potato police, also known as the mashed potato police. Thank you, Heather Fitzgerald.
Jesus. Wait a minute. Tara says that it was FBI that gave
Yeah, they gave him a tip.
Well,
Wait a minute, but
part of their tip was the DNA, but they knew who Brian Koberger was on like the 29th of November or something like that because they
Mhm.
looked at the white Elantras that were registered to WSU.
but
There you
why
go.
that school? Why not the next town?
And Brian's
Oh,
disconnected from the network. All kinds of. So he fit. He fucking
Do
fit.
you guys not remember how many Elantras they said were in the system within a certain radius? So that was
22,000.
22?
22,000.
No,
Not
like
No,
20,000.
wait, are we talking about the white Elantra or the Elantras?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's 22 registered between Washington and Idaho. There was like 1,000 registered to U of
Yeah.
I and WSU at the same time. There might be a little bit more because I think that was just including college students. I think there might be more just in
No,
the.
I just remember it being a big number.
Yeah.
I thought there was
Yeah,
like
it's like a
22,000
grand between the two towns.
Yeah.
in the whole
oh
fucking.
wow.
But how many in the whole state? Like why? Like you said, why are they going right to? You know, is there not
Washington.
other places around the area? Like
Right.
I don't know.
It makes no sense to me. Like it's almost they knew where to go.
You don't say.
Oregon isn't a
Right?
far drive from here. Montana's not a far drive from here. Probably Wyoming too. Utah, Colorado. There's lots of places it could come from.
And if Cass' data is so accurate, and he maybe had a weapon when he did that drive around supposedly after the event, would they have where he maybe stopped here or somewhere here and for a certain amount of time? And you know what I'm saying? That Cass data, if they're so accurate, could be used for the defense.
Linda said they were surveilling him.
Well,
prior to
that's
being
why.
asked. Hold on a second. She said they were surveilling him prior to being asked for assistance from Idaho law enforcement. Look at the PA docs. You know where those PA docs are?
Who are you talking to?
Please tell us.
Tara?
You with the.
No, I'm
the
asking
documents
which
up.
doc. Like, I need to know which doc to look at.
Nuna doesn't say which docs. She just said look at the PA docs.
Oh,
Because
how
it's
many PA
probably in
docs
this
are there
document I have pulled up.
in that file?
So when did they start surveilling him? Sometime in December, right?
I heard it was early December because, again, at first they said that the FBI was concerned because they lost track of Koberger when he left town. They were already following him. Here's what the FBI does. The FBI has no hesitation about violating our rights. They just don't want us to know about it.
Do you
They
really
will violate our rights. They just won't use it in court so people don't know.
Have you heard of this case called the Nuremberg 4? It was about these 4 black guys up in New York, in Newburgh, New York, and they were coerced coerced by a plant from the FBI to shoot down a plane. And what happened was the FBI recruited a guy from, I believe he was Palestinian. He was going to different mosques in poor neighborhoods to recruit people to shoot down the plane. So the Palestinian, so the FBI informants found four poor guys at a local mosque in a low income neighborhood and offered them $250,000.
Yeah, I think I saw it was in a movie or a documentary about that.
Right. Yeah. You can actually find it on YouTube.
Hey, I've seen it.
So what happened was this FBI informant was like, yeah, we're going to shoot down a plane for jihad.
Yeah.
And the brothers was like,
those guys were not at all the overzealous. This is what they were going to do on their own. No, they were basically
they were not terrorists.
They were a lot of money and didn't think and kind of bit into the apple and got in the middle of something they would have never ever done on their own.
And so what happened was this FBI informant, because the FBI told the informant just to offer $5,000. The FBI informant said, well, I got $250,000. Mind you, they're poor, they're black, they, very little income. One of the guys were mentally unstable and practically homeless. Okay. The guy was like, yes. The informant like, yes, we're going to do this for jihad. The brother was like, why you keep saying jihad? Who is jihad?
Probably didn't know what
We're not
jihad
doing
was.
this for jihad. Now, if you want me, so if you're going to give me $250,000, I'm going to find some guys for you, but we would do it with the plane empty. If this is what you want us to do. And this is actual informant footage. This is actual video camera footage that he was doing. And it was clear that these guys was being coerced by
They
the
were not
FBI.
even
It called the
close to
Nuremberg
that.
4. Actually, they got out of jail. I think it was February of this year or sometime last year. It was recent but they only served 8 years. But when they was caught with the weapons, and you can see the narrative, they was being called terrorists. They was called everything, and they completely spin this thing out as if these guys did it intentionally, that they didn't do it for the money, and they wasn't terrorists, and this was led by the FBI.
Yeah.
The same informants went to Philadelphia and was trying to recruit some more people to do these acts that was being funded by the FBI.
Yeah. And who holds them accountable?
Exactly. Nobody holds them accountable. And the reason why the FBI is doing this, because they don't have money. All this money was given over for what is the Patriot Act.
Yeah.
And that was
a time when they were trying to fight that very heavily, and those agents had incentive their career to make cases, and some of them made up cases.
A lot of them are made up cases. And so this is what we have to understand, that the FBI especially, they are out to get other Americans so they can get paid, so they can get federal money. That's it. It's that
so
simple.
They can get a promotion. That's how you move up the food chain.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah,
Really?
Case in the paper, you get recognized. Next thing you know, you got a promotion.
Yeah. And that's exactly
what did Steve say to her, Rolla? I'm curious. Steve's fucking emailing everybody. It's crazy.
Wait a minute, is that Lena from Truth and Transparency?
Well, somebody
She always comes in chat as Truth and Transparency, if that's who you're referring to.
Yeah.
Somebody said.
Yeah, I've heard several creators that supposedly were talking to this person.
Holy shit!
I have to see absolutely irrefutable.
And this is another thing too with SG, because he was one of the main supporters that say that his daughter was being stalked by BK, right? How come their social media pages are not private?
They have their shit
His daughter right away when it happened.
They post everything they do. Everywhere they go, everything they do. It's yeah.
Now,
I don't get it.
I haven't. Look, I do IT for DOD. All right. I do not go on Facebook and everything. It's not my job to brag about how I travel and what I do.
Yeah.
Because it's nobody's business. I'm a very private person. But as a father, who lost his child, as a person who was the main component of my child was being stalked by this outsider, why are you still posting your life online? For what? What are you doing? And there's something about, I can't quite put my finger on, but something about SG is not right.
Yeah. If you look how Ethan's mom and dad have responded to all this.
And the reason why I say this is this. Look, my father was murdered, okay?
Sorry to hear that.
When that happens, thank you. When that happens, there's a part of you that's empty. Like it's like, how you look for your keys that you can't find, and you just walk around trying to find that, and you trying to find those lost keys. That is what I need to express how it feels like when you lose a loved one. You know what I mean?
Well, you lost Lost you.
Yeah.
And
can't
I
see that.
don't and I don't understand. And I know a lot of people don't look. I know a lot of people don't want to say anything. Look, y'all don't have to say, y'all don't, if y'all don't have nothing bad to say about SG, that's fine. But I say this as a person who also had a family member that was murdered. All right. You don't go around and post everything online. Something has to be held private. You don't have to post everything online, especially after your child was murdered.
Yeah, well, that's the
There's-
question. I mean, I really had a question about why they posted about the cruise,
Makes no sense.
because like, why are you telling people where you're going for a cruise and when you're going and all that kind of stuff? Like, don't tell anybody anything if you truly believe your daughter was just stalked and murdered. I
Right.
don't
That's
understand.
my point. That's my point. If you put on it that your child was stalked, why are you still putting your whole life out there? How come you can't just step away?
Like, has this turned into like the enjoyment of the attention from
Right.
social media? Is that what this
Yeah,
has turned into?
Would you not ask
Right.
yourself, are you doing something that benefits or doesn't benefit?
Yeah.
It's almost like he's being paid. I almost feel like what are you getting from this? You know what I mean? Because every time he says something and everybody jumps in and what he says, just like, for an example, just like when Ann Taylor says, I want to make this public. I want this trial to be public. I want the hearing to be public. But he comes out with the next day, right? And says, it's the defense that's holding up the trial. It's
Yeah.
I don't think it
it's the
benefits.
defense's fault. And then everybody goes and repeat what he says. Yeah, it's a defense fault. No. It's judge who can't make a decision, who can't stand 10 toes down and say, look, I'm giving y'all what? I'm giving you 90 days. I'm giving you 120. It's been a year and a half now. Where's the fucking evidence?
They're
You
past
got
their
this
fucking
dude locked up.
deadline.
You wasting my time. You wasting the
Their deadline was
taxpayers'
March.
time.
You know,
Deadline was March.
Give me the shit.
Yeah, the
What
judge
are
has
you
to
waiting on?
demand at some point
But
that
the next
everything
day,
is turned over or
the-
anything after that date is off. It ain't coming into evidence.
Right. Then the next day, SG comes out and says it's the defense's fault. What?
Yeah.
You know
Okay.
what? You need to look. You need to sit down. If you want to say anything, just say, hey, I think it's a travesty that the court system is making a mockery of the public and of the family. Say that. All right. But don't be pointing fingers, because you were the main one behind it that was spreading these rumors as well. Was he not?
Yeah.
Because
I mean,
at first he was
I
very
give-
critical.
Harsh
I'll
came
give
out
him a
today.
break.
He don't
I
give
don't
a
know
fuck.
how I
He
would behave
called
this
Steve G out today. He
I'm
don't
sorry,
care.
what now?
I said
I
I
said
give
Harsh.
Steve Gonzalez a break in some way because I just don't know how I would behave being in his shoes. I mean, they would probably have me locked up.
No, okay, let
Well,
me say this is how you behave. You behave with the truth. I want the truth. It's not that hard,
people can't
right?
handle the fucking
I
truth.
mean, you get
Oh
off
my
the
goodness.
rails. I
Step
mean,
into that one.
you had lost a child, you would be doing shit you know better than, but can't help yourself from doing.
Look, my grandmother lost her son. I lost my father. Right?
Hmm.
What's the difference between the two?
Well, one difference, and I'm no disrespect, is this guy literally has a gazillion people, the entire country and part of the world, analyzing and going over every friggin' little video, whatever. And I don't know, that's different. But you have to think in your head, hey, I need to watch what I say and the message that I give and not interfere.
The problem that I'm having is he's changing the narrative, and he was fearing the narrative as well, because he said a lot of things that wasn't true. The stalking wasn't true.
I
The
haven't
kids
paid
again, I mean,
having
I don't
him
know.
and
I
his
don't know.
always
cell
paid
phone in the
hard.
home wasn't true.
I can't slight him. I can't slight him for like in the beginning and shit because I don't know how I would fucking react if I lost a kid. Okay,
Oh, I
so
know, sir.
none of I mean unless somebody here has, and if you have, I'm sorry. But unless you've like been in that situation, I don't know what the fuck I do. So I
It's
don't slight
very
him. I don't slight him for anything. All I can say, because I don't like to badmouth anybody, all I can say is I'd be doing stuff a lot more differently. That's all I have to say. 'Cause I don't
Yeah.
want to, like I said, I don't want to
That's my
piss
point.
anybody off or
That's my
anything.
point.
That's all I'm saying.
yeah.
Yeah, that's my
Now,
point. Just
Twitch,
do it a little differently.
what the hell kind of blurry document you got up here?
This is an affidavit from Pennsylvania. Few places of note. On Wednesday, December 28, 2022, the Pennsylvania State Police was requested to assist the Moscow Police Department, Moscow, Idaho, Federal Bureau of Investigation. That means FBI. I'm a
Yeah.
big fan of the FBI. I love them. They never make mistakes. They always follow the law. With a homicide investigation which occurred on Sunday, November 13th, 2022. Interestingly enough, that's December 28th. Here they are saying they were watching him on December 27th. Apparently, Highline
2
doesn't work
weeks.
very well.
2 weeks after the night in question.
No,
Hmm.
this is like a day. They're admitting that they were watching Koberger a day before Moscow asked him to come or asked them to follow him, right? But here it says that Koberger's vehicle was observed entering the Indian Mountain Lakes development on December 16th, meaning they had been following him long before Moscow PD asked
Oh
the
shit!
PA, state police, to assist. Now,
What was that
who's
date
gonna
again?
say that they weren't following him ever since like December 1st or something, like I heard originally?
Yeah,
But he was pulled over for Thanksgiving, though.
what the
Or
hell?
was it Christmas?
What date did you just say?
Which time?
Whatever you just said a couple seconds ago.
They
All right.
surrendered 20
Did you
hours
say
to
September?
27th,
December.
December.
Yeah.
and then they go back to 16th.
So Moscow police asked Pennsylvania State Police to assist them with their investigation of Koberger on the 28th. However, the FBI admits to following him on the 27th and on the 16th.
16th. So they had to at least been following from the 16th,
Yeah.
not
Correct.
the 19th.
Yeah,
Not
first
the
said
19th.
it's just they began surveillance on Tuesday, December 27th. Then they
December 20.
go back to the 16th thing. That's kind of
This is all fucked, man. This is
Again,
crazy.
when this first happened, I remember the FBI or articles saying the FBI had been following him since early December. It might have been December 1st.
Did they have probable cause? Like anything?
Do they need it? It's the
Mm,
FBI. They're probably watching all of us just for talking about it.
They haven't.
Right? They don't give a shit.
And I don't know. Maybe they had it.
The FBI's probable cause is this: any one of our citizens could be a terrorist at any point in time, so we have to watch all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's why. Yeah, dude. I'm telling you what, dude. When you talk to them too, they're fucking assholes, man. I'll never, ever, ever, ever fucking like if they ever need a tip or any kind of bullshit like that. Fuck them, dude. They treat you like shit on the phone, and you're just trying to
Really?
fucking call them to help, and they're fucking.
They played the power play too.
Dude, yeah, but like I can't believe that I was treated like a piece of shit when I called them. I'm like, yo, I'm trying to call you. I'm trying to call in because you guys fucking are asking me, and you're acting like an asshole. Screw you then. No, so I just told them some
So
bullshit and
wasn't-
hung up.
So you remember that one video where they was at the house around midnight? It was those 5 guys that drove up in a white van. Was that the FBI that went into the home that night? Y'all remember that video?
I don't know.
Hmm.
The FBI where?
So before they tore the house down, it was 5 males that
Okay.
drove up in a government white van. I think it was on, one of
I
those
remember
law TV shows. You remember what I'm talking about? And those 5 guys
I
went
do.
into the house, and there was a news reporter was reporting in front of the house.
Yeah, he was doing like a little blip, and it was kind of over his shoulder. You saw that.
No,
The
no,
hell?
no. It was in plain sight. They walked past the
I know.
newscast, and he
Wasn't
was
he doing
asking
like
them.
a thing for
One at a
his
time.
news thing, and you could look behind him, you saw it.
Yeah.
No, 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 no. It was a
That's
female
what I
that was
remember.
out,
The video I remember.
and and they walked past her. She was asking them what were they doing. And it was around midnight, and they said nothing. But they went into the house and they retrieved some stuff and they put them in their pockets.
It was News Nation.
News Nation. That's it. Yep.
So
And they put something in their
Thank
pockets.
you.
Well, how about the
Yes.
how about the officers that I think it was a video or a picture or something where they just like picked up a coat or something outside, like a jacket, a black jacket, and they just like threw it back down. Like it was
Yes, I saw
you know,
that. Yeah.
like there's jackets all over the town,
As
all
if
over
it
the
wasn't
place.
evidence. Like
Yeah.
everything was potential evidence because people were saying that was the jacket that Maddie had on the night before.
Yeah. And you're telling me they didn't check the property
Or
thoroughly enough to find
Kaylee.
a fucking glove that, Chris McDonough had to find a glove days and days later on? Get the hell
yeah,
out
and
of
at
here.
that point, even finding it doesn't do you any good because it's inadmissible because it's already been,
Exactly. It
the
could be an
process has been,
investigator's glove that
been fluid,
yeah.
the way it's supposed to be. It's,
Exactly. It could be an investigator's
it could
glove.
be the smoking gun evidence
Basically,
inadmissible because of the way it was
Yeah.
handled.
Yep. Well, I think I'm going on 3.5 hours here. I think I'm going to shut it down here in a little bit. I'm fucking
Yeah, it's
starving.
been that
But
long.
I appreciate y'all coming up. It's been a great conversation.
Hey, Willie, I
Great
appreciate
conversation.
you being respectful and we disagree. We do it respectfully and
Yeah, listen, man. Listen, I could disagree with a lot. I could disagree with a lot of people. You know what I mean? But I can still be, cordial and cool with, somebody. I don't understand, people who just hate each other because they have a different opinion. I don't get that. So every opinion is welcome here, unless you're a dick. If you're a dick to me, then I'll be a bigger dick to you. That's it. That's how I operate.
Back the message, not the messenger.
Exactly. I didn't
You
fucking do
do
this.
the facts. I don't agree with you because I just don't think it's correct. Not you're a terrible person. Well, you're an idiot. And that's the way people go.
Yeah.
Which is.
And then people say, "Oh, Will, why don't you go here anymore? Why don't you go there anymore?" Well, why don't you fucking think about it? You think I forget?
You make one comment.
You think just because now it's okay for people to come out and voice he's innocent that I fucking forget who the fuck all the people are that gave me all this shit back in the day and I couldn't go anywhere? Yeah, okay. I don't fucking forget nothing. Okay, but now that the tide has turned, everybody went back in the ground like fucking cicadas, and they'll be back out once the prosecution comes out with some bullshit. Oh, look what they got! He's guilty. Where the fuck are they now? Silent as a mouse, But
Hey, did you see me last night?
Bottom line is they go to trial. They'll either have smoking gun, knock him out cold. It's absolute. He's guilty, or they won't.
What do you say, Twiz?
Play tricks.
Yeah.
Did you see me last night? If you want to talk about silence,
Where were you at?
on Melissa.
Oh no! I want you to send, dude. You gotta fucking send me that, bro.
It was last night's
Yeah.
MJ.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like MJ.
I literally thought I got disconnected because I was hearing nobody talk. It was wild.
I'm throwing some fucking holy water on the screen for you. Yeah.
I do not give a damn about Letitia Stout or whatever her name is.
Bro, when I saw that she did like fucking 486 lives of that fucking the files and shit, I was like, yo, I could not sit there and
I
go
like
that shit.
Listen, Jade. That's not a.
Well, I'm just saying I can't sit there. I couldn't sit there and make, that many, like go through all those fucking phone calls and files and holy shit. I don't have it in me to do that.
Triple analysis.
Listen,
Psychological.
man, people like who they
profile,
like. I don't give a shit where people. I'm not that person that's like, oh, you go here, fuck you. No, whatever. Even if I have a problem with the person, whatever. You go here, whatever. It is what it is. I don't give a shit. Who am I?
And I know
Who am I
this
to
is
tell
where
anybody?
I'm not crazy about it, but I just kind of want to see what's being said.
Yeah, exactly. I like to pop in just to see what what crazy fucking narratives people are spinning sometimes.
Yesterday, I actually come up my algorithm. Some creator that I've never seen of True Crime Channel had 60-some thousand, and I can't remember the name, but I thought, damn, I've never, ever, ever seen this person, which is unusual.
The only thing that confused me about Melissa is like when I was up on, because I used to be up. I mean, that's fucking where I was a lot because I didn't really know where the fuck to go.
I remember that.
When I first found YouTube. But what I found about Melissa was when I was up on panel, she wouldn't say like because she thought shit was shady, but she wouldn't say it up on panel until she was up on other panels. Up, where the fuck does go? And then she would voice her opinion on what she really felt. And I talked to her like, yo, why don't you say the same shit on your channel that you're saying on like other panels? So that's why I kind of like, made my distance because I like people who just fucking say what they feel, bro. Don't suppress your shit because of your viewers and all that shit. Fuck that. People want to go. There's a fucking door. Keep your shit 100 and real. So again, it is what it is. I call a spade, brother. You know me. But yeah, I appreciate you guys coming up, Nicole. I appreciate you telling the story. Again, I'm sorry you went through all that.
No worries.
And you're welcome up here anytime. Will,
Thank you.
anytime as well. Twiz, I don't know where the fuck you went, dude. But
No.
all right, guys. Yeah, I'll probably go live. I don't know, maybe a couple days. I know. I think he'll be live tomorrow. I think is Lana live right now? I don't know if she is, but
Yeah, I think she is.
I'm sure I'll catch you guys.
She is.
I'll catch you guys around the street somewhere. So.
I'll see you, Willie.
Yeah. All right, guys. All right, chat. Everybody in
Later.
chat. I appreciate you guys.
Everyone follow. Everyone subscribe. Everyone follow and subscribe. Dinky. Yeah. Have a great night.
Thank you, guys. Be
Please
blessed.
like and
Take care of each
subscribe
other. Bye-bye.
The video here. I appreciate it. And everybody have a great night. See you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
See y'all. God bless you.